Alright. Alright, I am live. Wait, and record. Okay, it's recording. Okay, it's live. Mark Conlon's just running a bit late. But he's got an epic presentation. And yeah, so can you guys hear me right now? Can you all hear me? Okay, can you all hear me? Alright, just a bit late here. I had some I also had some technical issues with my monitor. Just resolution just got all out of whack. An epic presentation. And okay, and is that hearing myself on the same thing? Sound played again. Wait, and record. Is there an echo? Like, I hate when it does that. Okay, I will so the microphone here is recording this mic. To this day, I don't know how this works. Okay, this would go here. I'll refresh it. Alright, how's my mic, guys? Hi, all, Joel Femia. Okay, let's go. Never Scott Myers, the crazy listener. Yeah, that's true. Is that hearing in myself? Echo here is recording this mic. Yeah, I can hear myself echo. I just do not understand how your audible slight echo. Yeah, I just don't understand how this happens there. So what is it recording? So, settings. Okay. Microphone. Just put the camera on mic and let him speak. Yeah, he's gonna do a presentation, a full-on presentation. But he's just running late. And okay, and I just don't understand what's going on here. Microphone. Okay, I will mute. I'll remove this mic. Remove. Okay, but it's recording that microphone though. That's the only thing. Okay, so this is the thing. I don't understand why is there two mics there. I'm gonna go sound input devices. Manage input. There's only one input. Let's try it again. It's recording that microphone though. That's the only thing. Is the microphone better now? Okay. So this is the thing. I don't understand why is there two mics there. I'm gonna go. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Like I to this day I don't know why it does and doesn't. Sometimes does, and sometimes does not. All right. Electronic and the near comp interfering. Well, it's when I Google Meet that it's like if you sign in first, it does it. I'm gonna actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna. But if I cancel this one, I won't stream it. Okay, so I will delete this one. Okay, I should delete mic. Okay, I'm deleting the mic. So there's no mic. And now, source, audio input. Okay. All right. Is it better or worse? Okay, how is that? Okay, I'll put this on the right. All right, audio should be fine, I think. Okay, good evening, inmates. That's live now. Did you know it? Okay, we have a lot of people all waiting for Mark, and Mark is running a bit late. And I will hello all. Okay, did it work? Is it? Oh, it's better now. Okay, I'll put this on the right. All right, audio should be fine, I think. And should I make it louder? Good evening, inmates. That's live now. Did you know it? Okay, we have a lot of people all waiting for Mark. It's still like that. I don't understand. Is running a bit late, and like to this day, I do not know. Hello all. Okay, did it work? Is it? Oh, it's better now. No, it's still not. I'm gonna unplug and plug it again to see what happens. And should I make it louder? Good evening, inmates. That's live now. Did you know it? Okay, we have a lot of people all waiting for Mark. It's still like that. I don't understand. Is running a bit. Okay, I muted this one. Microphone. Properties. Okay, I see. Does that work? And like to this. Is it? Oh, it's better now. No. Good evening, inmates. That's live now. Did you know it? Yeah, I don't understand. Do you have YouTube streaming? No, I had that one here in the background, but I turned it off. I'm just trying to test out if my microphone's proper. Okay, we have a lot of people all waiting for Mark. It's still like that. I don't understand. Is running a bit. I just don't understand what is happening. I use Google Meet and Prism Live Studio. and it just does not do it. Greetings, all carols in the house. All right, it's all good. Someone says. Okay, I muted this one. Understand. One's proper. Oh, it is. It is working. Okay, so that is the issue. So I'm gonna have to go right here. So there's a bug right here with Google Meet. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go right here and add some stuff. I'm gonna block out my face. All right. Double check. Yeah. So, anyways, we'll do some housekeeping and typing notes as we go, as Mark is just rushing through his presentation, and I will copy this and move it here. What about the power? Okay, and then also you could have a use hardwired. It is hardwired. Okay. So here's the bug. Anyways, I'll go over housekeeping. So Mark Conlon, aka 9/11 Planes Research, joins for a special never-before-seen presentation on the most asked question when one points to the impossibility of large Boeings on 9/11. But what about the passengers? Okay, now you're sounding like a pro. Okay, epic stuff. We have a lot of people waiting for this one. And Mark Conlon's just rushing a bit late here. He sent me a presentation and PowerPoint in case there's any issues. And I'm just going to put a link to it. You guys can actually view it and so on. Because it's I think it's pretty good to have that as well right in your hand. I'm gonna go here, Conlon presentation, PowerPoint, and yeah, so you guys can review it even before he or as he presents and so on. Actually, I'll have to ask him first if I can send it to you guys. Well, you guys have the link. I'll just put it here. If anybody, yeah, I think he should be fine. There's a link to the presentation. It's never before seen, so just keep it yeah, so it's never before seen. Let's just see how it is. There's 9/11 Planes Research. You get the whole PowerPoint and so on, and I'll probably look at it and add links to everything and so on. So he's got a whole lot of research on this. Okay, Mark Collins in the house right here. Okay, there, I'm getting the notification. And allow, Google Meet, allow, asking you, just allow, come on, view, admit. Okay, so Mark Collins in the house. All right, guys, Mark Collins, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Turn microphone. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. I can hear you. Yeah. And can you guys all hear Mark Collins? I sent your I sent a link to your PowerPoint if you don't mind. Yeah. And I'm gonna add links to it later as well. Be pretty epic. Okay, so there's that, and yeah, so Mark Collins in the house. So yeah, you've been heard you're rushing through to get the presentation done.
Yeah, it's by no means a complete one, but I've done something for this show. Literally put it together in a less than at the speed of sound type of thing. Oh. I wanted something to visually engage people as well, and we can chat. It doesn't have to be rigid.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that. Yeah, we can chat and see where we go.
Yeah, and what also I did literally this morning, I just had the idea of I just made a giant Excel file, and I added every single passenger, crew, quote hijacker, and put notes and so on. So even as you're presenting, I'll add everything in there. It's actually quite amazing, the Excel file here. It makes everything super easy and to sort out. So there's I think there's 200 plus passengers that we need to eventually cover. That'll be like just for a long time sake. All right. So that is that. Yeah. So I'm just going over some housekeeping, and then I'll let you take over the show. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll do the housekeeping, and I will share my screen so you can have you can see what I am doing as well. So I will share screen. Okay, there's a share screen button. Share window, and I will share. Okay, this right here. Okay, so that's that. This is going back here. Okay, dismiss infinite loop. Okay, so I'll do this. Sorry, I don't know why this shows up there. Okay, so so basically here we are. Yeah, I'm just going over. Let me just get back to the train of thought. Yeah, no, I also had some technical issues beforehand. My monitor just wasn't presenting properly. All right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna block this out so you can see everything. You can see my screen. And so, guys, as always, go to the links of this. This is gonna be a quite epic broadcast right here, and I will send the link to the links, guys. So this is the link to the links, and I also even the thumbnail took me a while to making it. I added all of the alleged passengers and so on, and the crew number and the quote hijacker number, and as well, and the only one that I could find all photos was the Flight 93. The other ones they only showed some partial, so I just added the names and so on, and you can see all the names there. And I'm gonna add a note quickly here so I don't forget. Okay, there's a link to the links right here. So Google Meet. Let's see. Start Google Meet before Prism Live Studio. Otherwise, I get an echo. Void echo in audio. Okay, so that's that. And also, here's a disclaimer for everyone, even in the chat, and also for Mark, if you can. Also follow this one. So I wrote, don't say, quote, no planes, quote, fake planes, quote, crisis actors. Those are no-goes. Instead, say no Boeings, quote, no, and also quote planes. When you say planes, say quote planes. Just makes it a bit harder for the algorithm. But again, an insider agents instead of crisis actors, and so on. So again, just avoiding all that stuff. And as always, guys, there's a superfan link, guys. A donate Telegram links is where I put everything in there. And I don't want to go through too much of this. We're already past this. So I'm just going to go. The next setup is, I made a giant Excel file. So there's the PowerPoint presentation right here. This one, he sent me it. And you can have a look at it beforehand and also review it after the live stream and so on. But also the one I just made now, I'm going to add it as we go, is this absolutely massive document right here, or this Excel file. I added every single passenger and added notes and I added the quote hijackers. You can download it and so on and play around with it and add notes. I'm going to add notes and so on. So for example here, the crew Shanksville, Deborah Jacobs Welsh, there's a note. Her husband Patrick Welsh questions her quote heroic story and the official 9/11 narrative. So if you've seen the trailer, Mark Conlon sent me that one. That one is absolutely remarkable. So even families of victims are also 9/11 truthers. So whenever you see mainstream saying, hey, don't question it, etc. And also the hijacker, the quote ringleader, Mohammed Atta, age 33. And then I started adding the ones that had recovered passports or driver's license and so on. So the Pentagon one, they quote recovered it in the parking lot in the north side. So after they moved everything around, so they didn't actually find it in the location. They found it in the rubble pile after it was moved. So that was interesting. Anyways, a whole bunch of other info here. And every single passenger, 265. But there's, I think there's 265 unless there's some sort of typo. And so on. But anyways, so that's that. And I'll send a link in the chat and then I'll give it to you, Mark. And right here. All right, guys. And now for the show you've all been waiting for, and I have as well. Mark Conlon in the house. So you can share your screen, and I will just let you take over.
Yeah, I'll probably need a little bit of help with you, here and there, because, like I say, this has been put together literally over a few days of grabbing lots of stuff I've had all scattered all over the shop. Right, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I'll just stop presenting. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Because and I'll find as you're going, I'm gonna try to find links and so on in the background.
Yeah.
And then send it to the crew.
So I'm looking to share screen to start with, so I can share my screen. So where do I find that on here?
It's at the bottom. It's that arrow, that up arrow. It says present now. It's inside a square box or rectangle.
Is that on the left or the right side?
It's on the bottom. On my screen, it's on the bottom. Right. It's like very close to the mic, to the hang up thingy, to the hang up icon.
The hang up.
You see it at the bottom? Oh. There should be an up arrow.
Oh yeah, present now.
Yeah, that's the present now one. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now I know what I'm looking for. Yeah. Let's get window up.
Yeah, and if there's any audio issues, I can present it if you're presenting a video and so on.
Right. So I'm just looking for my presentation. It's got documents.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that one not coming up? Window. Got the Brave tabs.
Yeah, so Brave tab, or you're sending. I think it's a PowerPoint, so you should be able to click the window itself. So you click window, not the Brave tab, and then you should be able to find.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's just not showing me.
Or you could do entire screen. Okay, so I can see. Yeah, I can see the Telegram, so I can see myself
Yeah.
in the
Now,
chat.
can you see the PowerPoint? It changed the PowerPoint when I did that.
Oh no, you're not on the PowerPoint. You're just you're sharing the Telegram window.
Well, I'm going to knock that window off then.
So you have to go present something else. Yeah, you can just go present, switch it, and you can do that.
Yeah, it's all right. It wasn't showing my PowerPoint. Present window. It's not PowerPoint's not showing up for some reason. I'll try now. Hang on. I'll see where I can get that up.
Yeah, so I can see your whole screen. Yeah, so you can click that because you were sharing each window separately. So is it already open?
Coming up as a PowerPoint now?
Oh no, yeah. So now you can share it, or you can now you would have to share it. Now you would go and share it.
So just to ask, can you see my?
Yeah, I can see your window, your all your documents and so on. Yeah.
Oh no, I don't want that one. See, it's not showing me that window for some reason. It keeps showing that window, and I've got a PowerPoint.
Well, you're showing. It says documents. Okay.
Hang on, let me knock them documents off. So I've got a PowerPoint open, but it's not giving me the option to show it.
There's no option to show it. Interesting. There's none at all.
Let me try again.
Otherwise, you can share entire screen if you don't. Otherwise, but you can try it again. Window. Let's see, because
try again.
It should be able to work. I'm gonna open mine and see if that works.
Right. Okay.
Infinity window. Yeah, you're sharing a Brave tab. I will try to share on. Yeah, okay, I can see it now. Okay, but
you see it now, yeah.
Yeah, but you're showing your entire screen, so that's the only downside.
Yeah, but I can narrow that down, so I can put that onto full. Can you see that now?
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it full now. Okay, so I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the layout so that it
can everybody
spotlight. Yeah, so you can highlight there, and I just wanna hide my face. I just want to show yours. Yeah, so everybody can see that. You guys can all see it. I can see it. They should be able to. And I'm just going to fix up this layout. I don't want to show my face. I want to show yours instead. Auto. Yeah, because it's showing my face. Spotlight this. Tiled, no. I'm going to go one last try. Sidebar. Okay, that's sidebar better. All right. There it is, the presentation. All right, I think it's good to go.
Right, I'll probably have to skip after a couple of things because you've done a bit of housekeeping and I don't want to get you in trouble, but people will see what's on the screen. So, so I was just going to preface about the evidence concerning the 4 flights, but I think I may skip that because it might get you banned. It's just what everybody knows about the ELTs, which I've spoke about so many times and all that. So I'm just going to skip through these pages and get straight onto it.
Yeah. Okay. And just to summarize it for the audience, so basically for those who haven't been here, the ELTs are the emergency locator, the alarms that during a crash they're supposed to go off, but none of them went off at the time of impact for all 4 flights. So that's rules out even just random coincidence. It's like hitting a parlay on sports.
Yeah. So everybody can go and watch my presentations on them. I've wrote loads about it, so they can find that. So the big thing is we've got this thing with the passengers on 9/11. So I'm just going to try and cover a few things. This is by no means a finished product or anything like that I'm doing. This is just something I've put together for the show because it doesn't seem like people have really covered it in any depth. And I'm no expert on this, but it's just things I know and things that other people may not know. So we're talking about what about the passengers on 9/11. So this is one of the questions I get asked the most when I talk about the planes research I've done. And this is what's prompted me to go a little bit, trying to find out more and other things to do with the passengers. So it's a very controversial area of research due to the sensitive nature because there's a lot of emotion tied up in this event because of what took place. And that doesn't mean just with family members or alleged family members. It's just with people in general as well. So I'm just putting that out there. You do get attacked for even daring to look at this subject, never mind the plane crashes. So I just want to go over a few things early on to do with Mohammed Atta at Portland Airport, because that's some strange things going on there. Just quickly, so we have 2 times that were given on the CCTV to do with that. So that was quite a strange area where they was actually later than what we're told at that airport, and it's very strange how they went to that airport and then had to come back to Boston. So they went to Portland Airport from Boston and then they headed back. So this is quite a strange thing, in my opinion. And the timing on the CCTV there is 5:53. Yet the government or somebody's put right in the middle of the CCTV, they put some more times, which knocks the time back to 5:45. Now, these are the 2 alleged individuals who apparently were told were on this CCTV. Now, like I said, on September 10th, Atta and Alomari, is it? I think it is, drove to Boston, Portland, Maine, and the next day they flew back from Portland to Boston. Very strange. And then they allegedly boarded flight 11. So I'm sure a lot of you know this, but I'm just going over this as we build up and go through some areas. So it makes no sense why Atta and Alomari, I think his name is Alomari, is it? Matt, you can help me out with that. How would you pronounce that?
Yeah, I'm like the worst presenting.
Alomari.
Alomari?
Yeah, Alomari.
Alomari.
Yeah.
I'll call that.
Yeah. Alomari, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's very strange. So like I say, they got this strange why they put this time right in the middle here when the time is actually later there. I won't go into here, but there was a lady that's in the FBI report who claims to have seen Atta at the time when, well, she's a lady, she's a pilot, I think it was. She come back from flying at Boston, and when she'd parked up the plane at the gate, she was encountered an individual who she believed was Atta. Now, this would have been around about the time when he was in Portland. So this is a very strange story there. I haven't included it here, but that's something to look out for, because this is what makes me sort of question, is this Mohammed Atta in this video? To me, don't really look like him, I would expect, but the video is a bit grainy, which is, again, common theme with some of the videos back then. But I do question whether this is Mohammed Atta at that airport, especially because of what I've just told you about this lady's encounter she had when she was parked up her plane and was coming back through, where she encountered this individual who she believed was Atta at the airport. So yeah, American Airlines, I'm sure you all know, it had I think it was 92 passengers on there. 11 crew. That number again, 11, very apt. And apparently we're told by the BTS that there's no wheels off time for flight 11, which is another area which I've looked into. So I just want the viewers to keep that in the back of the mind when we go through this presentation. There's actually no wheels off time in the Bureau of Transportation statistics, which when Jeff Hill called up the BTS, the lady on there suggested that probably indicates that the flight was cancelled. So just bear that in mind. So we get on to Daniel Lewin. Now, this is a bit of an individual here, because he's Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, as an officer. So this guy was quite handy. He's a clever guy, and a lot of people believe that if the plane was going to be hijacked, that he would have, put up a good fight, because of his background. So that's another area. That's if indeed he boarded the flight. So I just want to put that in there. So yeah, apparently he was sitting in 9B. Now there's some strange coincidences. I think Matt has spoke about this perhaps in some of his live streams.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Times, yeah.
Hexadecimal. Have you heard of that, Matt?
Yeah. So the hexadecimal one is the way it works is it's like it goes to 1 to 16, except you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it goes A, B, C, D, E, F, and yeah.
Well, 16. Apparently, according to what 9B actually equals 911.
Yeah, because A would be 10. A would be 10, and then B is 11.
Yeah. Which is, again, this is one of these coincidences which we'll pick up on some of this. And apparently his watch had the 11 on, didn't it? It was, the 11th day in the date on his watch, and plus the hands was pointing to the 11.
Yeah.
So again, more coincidences. Somebody did a video about this. Do you think should we play this or should we leave it? Do you think?
I think we could play a bit of it and see what it does. And also someone commented, American Fathers commented. So 9B, so the 2 is a 1-1. So 2 is just 1-1. So it's also another 9-11.
Yeah. We also have the AA in American Airlines represents a 1 and a 1 in the alphabet. So again, that's back to the 11.
Yeah.
So the 1111 again, which is all these coincidences which we seem to find. This I'll just play this a little bit because just to check that you can hear it as well. So I don't want to skip it and then we play something else and we can't hear it. But we'll just give it a quick play. So there we go. Let's get onto that.
Daniel Lewin.
Yeah, volume's really low though. I can hear it, but volume's pretty low. But...
Things about him.
Can you hear that now?
Okay, I'll increase it for the audience. I can do that. I'll just do it right here on my own end. Okay.
See that this stuff actually exists on the internet, and you can see exactly where I'm getting it from. This particular website is Tablet Magazine, a Jewish news and politics website. Daniel Lewin was Jewish. He was also a mathematician. He was a computer genius, and he's considered to be the first guy who died on 9/11, first victim. I'm doing this so that, because nobody else is putting this together actually in a video like this, and all of this information together. You can find bits and pieces of it, but not all together on the internet. And I'm concerned that some of this stuff may just go down the memory hole and be taken offline one day. So I want to go through this video and kind of just make a record of it for everybody. Let's look at who this guy was. He was, like I said, a mathematician, a computer genius, first victim on 9/11, etc. Now, let's look at the hexadecimal numbering system first, because this is important. It's used in mathematics and computing. A is 10, B is 11, C is 12, D is 13, etc. You can look at that more if you want, but to save time, let's just go back to this. Now, in the hexadecimal system, remember 9 is B. You're not going to know that system probably unless you're a computer guy or a mathematician. He was both. All right. He was seated in seat here in the first row, on the first line, seated in seat 9B aboard American Airlines Flight 11. And that to him, that would be seat 911 on Flight 11 on the date 9/11. Now, there's some really interesting things about his watch too. Let's look at this. I get this from this website. This is not a conspiratorial website. This is just a kind of a puff piece about him, telling about what a great guy he was and stuff. This is a very high resolution picture. It's the same picture that you just saw on the other website, which also appeared on CNN, by the way. So this is not a questionable photograph. The EXIF data says that it was comes from Jason Groh, copyright 2000, photographed at Akamai Technologies, Danny Lewin's company, and it was photographed on August 11th, 2000. So why the resolution is so incredibly high, I don't know. That's suspicious in itself. But let's try to get a better look at this. on this website, you can't just zoom in and see much of anything because it's got a weird shading across the bottom that I really can't explain. So here's how we have to do this. We have to go to Google. Let's do this fairly quickly. Click on the one on the top left, and then we just have to click full-size image, and it gives us the image without the shading. Now you zoom in, you can see immediately this is very high resolution. You go down here to his watch. There we go. The hour and the second and the minute hands are all roughly on the 11. The date is on the 11. Now the odds of that are 1 in something like 58,000 or something, I believe. You can do a rough calculation of that. But that's really strange, very strange. Let's look at who this guy was exactly. According to Tablet Magazine, he was from the headline here, a veteran of an elite IDF unit. Now, if you research this guy a little bit, what you find is this IDF unit he was a part of was Sayeret Matkal, which is pretty much their version of Delta Force or something. This guy was literally a trained assassin, and we get that from the Psychology Today article, which is the genius who perished on 9/11, yada, yada, yada. Go down here, just below the picture of him with his mother as a baby, we have this in the last line of that paragraph here that you see on the screen. He could have killed an armed terrorist with nothing more than a credit card, a pen, even his bare hands. So this guy is an Israeli assassin on 9/11, Flight 11. He's a mathematician and a computer genius seated in seat 9B, which is 9/11 in the hexadecimal system. And he is wearing a Swatch watch. And we know it's a Swatch with all of his hands on the 11 and the date on the 11. We know it's a Swatch because we can read it. It's a very good picture of the watch. Now look at what kind of watch this is. Here's the watch. All right. And by the way, you get the same watch, exactly, same name and everything on the Swatch website. I just like this website better. This is the hijacker watch. Right? General info. Brand Swatch. Subcategory Irony. Big. Hijacker. 1999. What do we make of this? What do you think about this? Is this a coincidence or something else? Just tell me what you think in the comments section, and don't say I'm anti-Semitic. I got most of this stuff from a Jewish news website, for goodness sakes, and Swatch website. I'm not anti-Semitic for just noticing this. So I'm making no conclusions here. I'm drawing no conclusions. I'm making no accusations. I just want to know what's going on here, because I don't believe in coincidences like this, and I'd really like to know what's going on. Thanks for watching.
So that was quite interesting, I think. I forgot about that at the end.
Yeah, and also if you, I just noticed while watching it. So the watch was. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
I think it just something happened. Yeah. So the watch was set at 10:10 or 1:1. Like it just says. Yep. That Swatch watch was at 10:10, and also the price of it was $111. And it was created in 1999, so that's pretty much all ones or nines, and also 999 upside down 666. So that's and also this guy. They also didn't mention in this one. Apparently he became an overnight billionaire from his some software thing.
Didn't know that. Oh wow.
Yeah.
So. That's just mad. Yeah. Well, I'll move on to this particular character here, chap. Alexander Fillpov. Now, he was a passenger allegedly on Flight 11. Now, what's strange about this case is he was meant to, well, not strange, he was due to be on a Delta flight, but apparently he changed his plans in order to get home sooner. So, but there's some little bits here. I mean, it says that they only found a piece of his bone. It was recovered. Only one piece of his bone was recovered. So, but just going over this, apparently he was in the I think Admiral's Lounge at 7:45. Now, Flight 11 actually pushed back from the gate at 7:45. So, and this is because we know this because he rang his son at 7:45, and he was in the Admiral's Lounge. Now, apparently, he switched, like I say, from the Delta flight to Flight 11 at the last minute, and the last contact he had was with his family, was with his wife as well, with his wife in the Admiral's Lounge at 7:45, which is directly opposite Gate 32. Perhaps he could have maybe made it over there, but I find this a bit odd because they're quite well, even back in 2001 they were still quite strict at shutting the door, the plane door, on the gate. So, but there is a bit of a problem with that because the 7:45 is stated at Gate 32, but there's two different pushback times in the commission report. Now, it states that the passengers boarded between 7:31 and 7:40, and it's alleged that the plane pushed back from the gate at 7:40, which is 5 minutes earlier than scheduled pushback time.
Yep.
So
I just want to make a note quickly. On your screen,
yeah.
Can you press that hide button? It's
oh yeah.
Yeah, on
yeah.
that, it's showing in our video.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Sorry about that.
No
yeah,
problem.
Yeah. So we got this problem where we're told by the commission that the plane pushed back from Gate 32 at 7:45. I've spoke a lot about this. Apparently, it pushed back at 7:46, which is a 1 minute delay than its normal schedule time. But in the same report, the commission report, it also states that like I say, the passengers boarded between 7:31 and 7:40. Now, Alexander Fillpov didn't board until, he was on the phone at 7:45 and he was in the Admiral's Lounge. I'll just flick back. This is Gate 32 here, if people can see where I'm around that. And the Admiral's Lounge is here. So it's sort of opposite the gate. But nevertheless, he was on the phone at 7:45. And yet we have the commission saying that people boarded between 7:31 and 7:40. So a bit of an anomaly there with his with what's being said about, from his wife about ringing him. We also have Richard Ross. Now, again, he called his wife to inform her that the flight was leaving a bit late. Now, he was frustrated about this because apparently he wanted to get to a business meeting in Los Angeles. So, suggesting he didn't board the plane at Gate 32 because apparently, again, there's a timing issue with Richard Ross getting on the plane. So, like I say, there was the scheduled 7:45 departure and the clearance for pushback. So what there's people get a bit mixed up with what that means. A departure doesn't mean wheels off, by the way. The departure is pushing back from the gate. So it only apparently pushed back a minute late, but at the same time we've still got that it pushed back at 7:40 after the passengers. So again, another anomaly going on. Apparently Mr. Ross misunderstood the departure of the time for his flight, so he actually arrived early, which is uncharacteristic for him to be early. So I know this is a little bit, maybe I'm trying to get through this a little bit quick because I really want to get on to some other parts in there which maybe people haven't heard of too much. So sorry if I'm rushing through. But we got the captain, John Ogonosoki, I think it is, and he was the captain on Flight 11. Now, we do have some witness statement to say that he was on that plane, and I just want to play this video. It's to do with some ground crew. Some of this I've been looking into for quite a long time. So I've been trying to establish whether people actually made it onto the flights or were put onto a different plane. I'm just putting that out there for the moment because it might sound a bit like I'm being a bit conflicting or contradictory. So I'll just play this video.
Well, the morning of 9/11 seemed to be a pretty normal morning. We started off, we did our first flight. In the morning, they have flights that are called kickoff flights. And we worked our first trip, and then there was an off-schedule, a flight canceled, or a crew got tied up somewhere, so that's when we got assigned to Flight 11.
At the time, we were on a very, very company-imposed on-time departure kick. I mean, everything absolutely positively had to leave on time.
The last bags come through, and we get the final bag sheet. That means that we can now lock the airplane up, meaning that we're ready to go on the ground.
Mark, I should make a note. When the video's playing, you want to mute your microphone just because we can hear your background.
Oh, right. Okay.
When a video's playing, yeah. I mute mine while I do this. All right.
Okay. I might have to. Not sure how you can mute on this.
There's a on the Google Meet. There's a button and you can just press the mute the microphone button. Or just press it and it goes off.
It's all right. I'm looking at a full screen on here.
Okay.
And it means I'd have to come off my screen.
Oh no, it's on the Google Meet. Where's your Google Meet area? No, it's not on this one. You can switch tabs on your. Press Alt and then Tab.
Hang on there.
On your.
Hang on. Let me escape.
No, Google Meet. Where's the Google Meet? It should be on this one, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can just on the left side, on the left, on our screen, yeah, on that one.
Yeah.
And then you can just press that microphone button at the bottom.
Okay, hide that one there.
Yeah. So that one just mutes it. Just whenever you do a video, just because we can hear you breathing and eating and drinking. Okay. Okay. And Matt is quiet. FYI, Nathan says okay. Okay, and then yeah. I mean, Mark, it's not playing any video audio, so I was muted too. It's not playing any video audio anymore. So I think just put the microphone on and maybe we could just, I don't know why it's not working. So I think it turns that off as well. Okay, let's go back to it. And because like on mine, on my thingy, I have an actual microphone like here. I just press a button and it just turns off. So
I should have put my proper mic on and switched it off. What I'll do is I'll try and cover the mic.
Okay, yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
Or stop breathing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
you can wear.
Let me know.
Wear two masks. Wear two masks. So it's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all good.
Try again.
Okay.
Well, the morning of 9/11 seemed to be a pretty normal morning. We started off, we did our first flight. In the morning, they have flights that are called kickoff flights. And we worked our first trip, and then there was an off-schedule, a flight canceled, or a crew got tied up somewhere, so that's when we got assigned to Flight 11.
At the time, we were on a very, very company-imposed on-time departure kick. I mean, everything absolutely positively had to leave on time.
The last bags come through, and we get the final bag sheet. That means that we can now lock the airplane up, meaning that we're ready to go on the ground.
And there were two transfer bags from U.S. Airways that had come from Portland, Maine. And I looked at the name underneath it. It just had the letter M/ATTA, Atta.
We had a little bit of a discussion, and my decision was that I'm going to follow the rules that the company has instituted, and it's 10 minutes before departure. I can't take any more bags and open up the aircraft. So what I did was I just refused the bags. Well, after the jet bridge pulls off, now the aircraft is ready to be dispatched, which is being pushed off into a taxiway.
And the guy on the headset said, basically you're all set. The plane is yours. The guy grabs the pin out of the plane, which was myself. The pilot, John Ogonosoki, happened to be from my town that I live in. And, I knew of him, but I never actually met him. I can clearly remember him waving his hand and waving me off after I saluted him.
So that was just a short video which I found quite a while ago when I was doing my research to try and find out if anybody had actually identified any of these passengers. I know some people might say, well, that guy you seen him, could be part of everything, but that's difficult to say. I was just trying to establish if anybody's seen anybody, getting onto them planes, because I do have a lot of evidence that I haven't included in here today, which shows that some passengers could have probably boarded a flight at a different gate. So just thought I'd add that in. So here's another interesting case of the passenger. Is David Angel, and he and his wife Lynn were killed on flight 11. They're among the passengers on that flight, allegedly. And Angel was well known scriptwriter for Cheers and Frasier and a lot of other sitcoms he done, apparently. But this is quite an interesting bit here, because on the 27th of May 1997 in Frasier, they had this mention about Flight 11, Boston to Los Angeles. So I'll just play this clip. Now, just to say that David Angel was the scriptwriter for this, for Frasier.
Did you happen to check this message?
No, I don't touch that thing.
Hi, it's Laura. We're getting an extra day of rehearsal, so I'm coming in tonight instead of tomorrow. American, Flight 11, 10:30. Can't wait. Bye.
Great news. Laura's in town. Who's Laura?
See you at 10:30, Flight 11. Love you. Bye.
So I don't know what to make of that, but I thought I'd include that because it's from 1997, and what are the odds that Flight 11 is mentioned, and this guy actually apparently died on that flight, and he's quite a well-known individual. So I just thought I'd include that. So we're going to start getting onto these other areas, and people have probably heard about Betty Young, flight attendant, 14-year veteran employee with American Airlines. She's the lady who made one of the calls from the airphone to reservations, and we've got some things going on with this call which are quite revealing, and again what we can read into it. So you've probably all heard it, but whether you've heard these particular anomalies is another story. So like I say, she made this call to reservations, and apparently only 4 minutes of the call was recorded. For some reason, apparently we're told that it was the recording only at the reservations only does it in 4 minutes at a time, which I find strange, but apparently that's what we're told. I'm not saying I believe that either, with all the knowledge I have and information. But apparently during the call, if you listen, Betty Young actually states she's on flight 12 instead of flight 11. Now, we can question this. So was this a mistake because of the stress of the situation she was under? Or was there something else more sinister at play? So I'd remember to play the call. Shall I play the whole call, Matt, and then we can talk about it? I've got some other pointers with it.
I was muted. I actually haven't listened to it before, so we can play it if you want the whole thing.
Okay, yeah.
I've only seen a conspiracy theorist debunking of the Rebecca Roth one.
Yeah, it's great, that is.
cockpit's not answering. Somebody's staffed in business class. And I think there's mates that we can't breathe. I don't know. I think we're getting hijacked. Which flight are you on? Flight 12.
And what seat are you in? Ma'am, are you there?
Yes.
What seat are you in?
Ma'am, what seat are you in? We just left Boston. We're up in the air.
I know.
We're supposed to go to LA, and the cockpit's not answering their phone.
Okay, but what seat are you sitting in? What's the number of your seat?
Okay, I'm in my jump seat right now.
Okay.
At 3R.
Okay, you're the flight attendant? I'm sorry, did you say you're the flight attendant?
Hello?
Yes, hello? What is your
Hi.
name?
You're going to have to speak up. I can't hear you.
What is your name?
Okay, my name is Betty Ong. I'm number 3 on flight 11.
Okay.
And the cockpit is not answering their phone. And there's somebody staffed in business class, and we can't breathe in business class. Somebody's got mace or something.
Can you describe the person that you said someone is what in business class?
I'm sitting in the back. Somebody's coming back from business. If you can hold on for 1 second, they're coming back. They want to know who thinks staff food. I don't know, but Karen and we got staff. Okay. Our number 1 is got staff. Our purser is staff. Nobody knows who's staff who, and we can't even get up to business class right now because nobody can breathe. Our number 1 is staffed right now.
Okay.
And our number 5, our first class passengers are first class galley flight attendant and our pursers in staff. And we can't get the cockpit. The door won't open. Hello?
Yeah, I'm taking down all the information, and we're also, of course, recording this. At this point,
This is operations. What flight number are we talking about?
Flight 12.
Flight 12. Okay, I'm getting on flight 11 right now. This is flight 11.
It's flight 11. I'm sorry, Nitty.
Boston to Los Angeles.
Yes.
Our number 1 has been staffed, and our 5 has been staffed. Can anybody get up to the cockpit? Can anybody get up to the cockpit? Okay, we can't even get into the cockpit. We don't know who's up there.
Well, if they were true, they would keep the door closed, and
I'm sorry?
would they not maintain a sterile cockpit?
I think the guys are up there. They might have gone their way up there or something. Nobody can call the cockpit. We can't even get inside. Is anybody still there?
Yes, we're still here.
Okay. I'm staying on the line as well.
Okay.
Hi, who is calling reservations? Is this one of the flight attendants or who are you with?
She gave her name as Betty Ong.
Betty, I'm number 3. I'm number 3 on this flight. You're the number 3 on the flight? Yes. And this is flight 11? From where to where? 11. Have you guys called anyone else? No. Somebody's calling medical and we can't get a stop.
So I'm trying to interject there because there's another recording that was made because there was only 4 minutes where you hear Betty Young talking to reservations. The second part of the other 4 minutes is actually you can't hear Betty Young. It's the other lady having a conversation with somebody externally, but she stays on the phone with Betty. So it's not really worth playing that. People can go and listen to that. It's online. But that's the main Betty Young call, and that's, she says, flight 12. There is some anomalies with this, so I don't know if people picked up on it, but at the same time as Betty Young says flight 12, Vanessa Minter also said flight 12. So this indicates that prior to the recording, that Betty Young must have said flight 12, so she said it twice. Only, we're only hearing it once in this recording, but Vanessa Minter must have known about the Flight 12 because Betty had said that before, when obviously the recording wasn't happening, or that segment of the recording they haven't released for whatever reason. We probably all know why they didn't release that recording in full. I'm saying I don't believe it was about 4 minutes. I think the whole call would have been recorded, but I think there's probably a lot more in that call than what's been revealed. So what you're looking at on the screen, by the way, is the transcription there. This is from the official documents, and you can see that Vanessa Minter says Flight 12 at the same time as Betty Young, and you do hear that in the recording. So that particular transcript there has picked that up. There's a bit of a close-up just so people can see. So she had mentioned it previously because Vanessa Minter heard it previous, because she said at the same time. So just going quickly through this, I think I've mentioned that. Yeah. Oh, I'll just go back. Yeah. I'll just go to that clip where they both say it at the same time in case everybody missed it. Oh, I'm in some trouble here today.
Number 3 in the back, the cockpit's not answering. Somebody's stabbed in business class. And I think there's mace that we can't breathe. I don't know. I think we're getting hijacked. Which flight are you on? Flight 12.
So there we have it. We heard that in stereo. That's 2 people saying Flight 12. Just to note as well, she says about not being able to... Oh, it's on again.
Flight 12.
There you go. So if you note, she says, I think somebody's sprayed mace. Now she's saying, I think we're having trouble breathing. So I don't know what to read into that, whether something's going on with the plane and they're having trouble breathing. I don't know. I have heard rumours about that. Whether the mace story is, like I say, part of the script for this particular flight, whether it was taking part in a exercise, which I tend to have a lot of suspicion about that could be the case. And here's why, is because Madeline Sweeney, the other flight attendant, she also said Flight 12 as well. Now, apparently her call was not recorded, but notes was taken by Michael Woodward. Now, again, Madeline Sweeney was a veteran flight attendant, so she knew her job, I would say, and she was with American Airlines for 12 years. So this is Madeline Sweeney's Flight 11. Apparently, is what she said, and this is in a document. Now, again, she said it twice. I'm going to show you the evidence for that. Now, Madeline said that she was at Flight 12 at Gate 32. Now, this prompted Michael Woodward to go down to Gate 32 with Elizabeth Williams, his colleague, to check to see whether the plane was there because it had been hijacked. So they went down there, and apparently they found an empty plane, and also Elizabeth Williams, that's what she said, that she found an empty plane. Michael Woodward said there was nothing amiss. The plane had left. So we got this conflicting accounts there down at Gate 32. We also have Michael Woodward thought he went to Gate 31. So if you look in the documents of his interviews, because he was interviewed up to 5 times, Michael Woodward, for some reason. I think he may have been interviewed by the CIA, I'm not sure, or somebody along them acronym names. But Yeah. Now I did track a flight that did come in and was sent to Gate 32 off the air traffic control communications. So whether Elizabeth Williams seen the empty plane that had come in, and I do have a flight number for that. I just haven't got it with me on here at the moment. But I tend to think that that was the plane that come into that gate that she observed. That's I'd never used to believe that, but that from my research, I'm now starting to believe that because of what I've found out. So, but this is Michael Woodward's notes he made at the time, and you can see he's crossed out 12 and tried to put 11. I've circled that there in the red. If you have a look.
Yeah, I see that. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So this is two pieces of evidence showing that she said flight 12 twice. So you got Betty Young saying flight 12, and you've got Amy Sweeney saying flight 12. By the way, it's Madeline Amy Sweeney. A lot of people called her Amy Sweeney. So just so people don't get mixed up, I'm used to calling her Amy Sweeney for some reason. So again, this is just some info about her. She rang her husband actually, who was interviewed by the FBI. This is how we know about this, on the 20th of September 2001. And he said in his interview that his wife was scheduled to depart at 7:45 and the flight did not depart until 7:59. Now, I don't know if he's talking about the wheels off time there when he's talking about departing, because there's two different terminologies with this sometimes. There's the pushback off the gate, and departing can also perhaps mean wheels off time or pushing away from the gate. So we know from what we've been told apparently that AA11 took off at 7:59 and was delayed for 14 minutes. So again, whether I believe that is still up in the air with what I'm researching for the last few years. So apparently Amy Sweeney made this phone call to her husband that the aeroplane she embarked on may not have been flight 11 at gate 32. So this again is calling into question because of the timing of the departure, because when she called her husband, she called him to say it was running late. Now, there is evidence, like I say, of another plane that was seen at gate 26 by an eyewitness that said that she seen flight 11 and it had come in from LAX, and they turned apparently the notice round they used to do back then to say flight 11 when it arrived, and it was going to be departing to LAX. So it had come in from LAX and going back to LAX. But apparently, from what we're told, flight 11 came in from San Francisco. So again, and I have checked the eyewitness statement, and it does tally up with what she said, this apparent eyewitness, and she's seen passengers gathering at that gate when she's seen passengers gathering at the gate. Now I'm speculating it was gate 26. Just the eyewitness didn't say that, but I'm speculating that because there are it was reported in the press, and it's still being reported in the press that flight 11 departed from gate 26, and it's very thin on the ground with eyewitnesses and employees at American Airlines that say they was at gate 32. But that still doesn't mean a plane never took off from that gate. Just want to make that clear. Again, we have another flight attendant. Not many people have probably heard of Sara Low. She's not really spoken about much. And she actually made a phone call as well, which is not really spoken about. But she made strangely, she made her phone call to where she used to live, an old residency number, not the current place and she didn't contact her parents. People have speculated why she did that, whether she didn't want to get through and worry the parents, you know, whether she done that deliberately or she done it through stress. But she seemed to call an old residency number that where she didn't even live, which is quite strange. This is Alison Low, and she remembers her sister in this video. It's not very long. I'll play a little bit of it just so you can get, because we do hear from people over the internet saying all the passengers don't exist. They're simulated. They're fictitious. I'm not saying they are. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just trying to get to the bottom, and I've been trying to track as many people down to try and verify some of the existence of some of these passengers, because it is very conflicted. But I'll just play this and judge for yourself whether this person is genuine or not.
My name is Sara Low on American Airlines Flight 11, and which was the first plane to strike the World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001. Yes. He did, yep. He had flown since before I was born, and then went through a series of, you know, smaller 2 or 3 seater planes, sometimes 4, and then as we got older, he got Beechcraft Barons, the twin engines, and we were able to take family vacations to out west during the summer, and so that was always nice because we more or less could, you know, go on our own schedule, and so it created more of a relaxed trip. And it was just an adventure for all of us. Probably more than an adventure than.
Mark, the volume is a bit low on the thing.
Okay.
It's a bit low, and then I had to use the volume on yours. I mean, I had to increase the whole volume, but I can hear a whole bunch of background.
Is that better?
Had to take some diversions.
It's still a bit low. Is there any way your system volume, is that, you want to just pause that? It might be your system volume on your computer. That might be too low.
Right.
Can you check this on the right on the bottom right there? Oh no, keep going. Click that one. Yeah. So make that. Oh no, that's headphones. Yeah. Make that max. But then it might be max for you. I just don't know why it's so low. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're a bit louder. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we can lower it if it's too loud for your headphones.
I can lower it.
My name is Alison Low, and my sister Sara Low was.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's better. And those noises, are those from the video? It's all these like beeps.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. For a second, I thought it was yours. So it should be fine. Let's just keep going. Okay, it's muted, I think. Okay. Okay, there it is. I can hear it. Yeah, make it loud.
He did, yep. He had flown since before I was born, and then went through a series of, you know, smaller 2 or 3 seater planes, sometimes 4, and then as we got older, he got Beechcraft Barons, the twin engines, and we were able to take family vacations to out west during the summer, and so that was always nice because we more or less could, you know, go on our own schedule, and so it created more of a relaxed trip, and it was just an adventure for all of us. Probably more than an adventure than my mom preferred sometimes, because, you know, the weather could get pretty interesting out there, and we you know, flew through some thunderstorms into Denver, and had to take some diversions to Kincaid, New Mexico, and so that just kind of added to it. You know, but it was nice to be able to put down where we needed to and have, you know, an unexpected adventure as well as the planned things.
So your sister got a degree in real estate and finance.
Yes.
But she decided to get flight attendant instead. I guess that wasn't a big surprise.
No, she was like my dad, wonderfully business minded, and so the business degree made sense, and she did go on and worked for my dad for a little while at his limestone quarry as an office manager in Batesville. But she just, small town life wasn't for her. She had thought about it before and then didn't talk about it. It just dropped. And then she told Mom and Dad, "Yeah, I've got to go. I've got to try it." And so.
So how long was she a flight attendant before 9/11?
She completed her training at the American Airlines headquarters in Dallas in the spring of '99. So about 2.5 years.
So Allison, your sister gave her calling card number to another flight attendant to use while the hijacking was taking place.
Yes. Two flight attendants at the back who went to the back of the plane made phone calls. Betty Ong was able to connect, and Amy Sweeney was able to connect. It was Amy who needed the calling card because the first few attempts that she made to contact ground personnel were not successful. And, I wonder, I assume Sarah's thought process was, like you would have had to use a credit card or back in those days a calling card to make the airphones work. She was able to remember our calling card number and gave it to Amy, and that's what made the call go through. And we got all of this took some time to find out, of course, as they sorted through all of the information. So it would be quite a while. But there was a meeting for families in New Jersey where they played the tape of Betty's call. And while we were there, the FBI handed us a printout that showed Amy's attempted calls. And there was our calling card number on that page. It looked much like a phone bill used to, where it would show all the calls that you made and how long they lasted. And there was our calling card number. And so that was, the concrete proof that she had what was her usual presence of mind about her, that she was very much in control and was doing her job, that she wasn't locked up with fear, not paralyzed with it, and that she was going through the things that she needed to do and was thinking to do, which was not a surprise, but at the same time affirming that she wasn't so terrified that she couldn't keep doing her job and think as clearly as she was.
There you go on that one. So just before I move on to this guy, again, is this person genuine? Was she shown evidence that has convinced her what happened with the sister? There's also other things we can think. That was that a training exercise that they were involved with that's gone rogue? Quite possibly. So does it suggest that perhaps some of the passengers were duped into taking part in an exercise with that? Could be. That's why we might have real family members who, again, might have been duped because of the exercise and the phone calls. What I will say with Betty Young's phone call, you can hear as if she's on a plane in the background. And if it was made from the air phone call, that could still be part of the exercise that an actual plane was up in the air. So there is that possibility. So we'll just move on. This is Peter Gray. He's an interesting character because of who he works for. There might be nothing in this, but apparently he was the vice president of operations for Electronic Systems Raytheon Company. And at the time, there still was back then, was a major defence contractor. Apparently they was in a bit of trouble as well with some lawsuits which was happening with them. I don't know what to make of this particular character, but some people have suggested he might have been took out because there's some things going on. I can't say or know that, it's possible. But yeah, that's just one of them areas again. But there does seem to be a common theme of a lot of like some Raytheon personnel on board some of these flights, which is again could be nothing, just could be another day. So I'm not going to go in a particular order. I'm going straight on to American Airlines 77. The reason I'm doing this is because I have amassed quite a bit of evidence now with this flight, whereas with the other flights, it's not so easy to amass evidence and gather it all. But Flight 77 has been coming along quite nicely in that department. So yeah, as everybody probably knows, Flight 77 was scheduled to depart from Los Angeles at 8:10 with 58 passengers aboard through gate D26, and that includes the 5 alleged hijackers apparently. The 53 other passengers on board, excluding the hijackers, were 26 men and 22 women and 5 children, ranging in age from 3 to 11. Also, what a lot of people don't know is there was a cat on board that flight named Sammy. So I thought I'd put that in because the cat never gets a mention there. So I thought I'd include that.
Yeah, I just want to make a note. You said there was 58 people, including the hijackers.
No, 50. There's 53. If you include the 5 hijacks, it's 58.
58 is I think for my notes I put 60. I think it's 64.
Is it?
Yeah. So, but the thing is, I'm trying to see if this is either a mistake from like one of the sources I was doing was one off from the Wikipedia version.
Right.
Yeah, Wikipedia says 53 passengers, 6 crew, and 5 hijackers. So, but again, it could just be a typo, or what would be interesting is if there's a source for that number to see if there's an actual discrepancy. That's just for further research.
I can look it up. I'll look it up in the official documents. I've got thousands of them. I'll find that. I'll check that out because that's interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
So, this is some research we've been doing for a while. This was a photo of some school children with their teachers, along with 2 personnel from National Geographic who were representative of that company. Now, the school children had won a prize to go on a competition to do with like an eco trip, where they to do with like the eco competition that they won. So that's why they were flying, and that's why they were being accompanied by the teachers, or that's at least the story being told. Now, this is apparently at Dulles Airport, and this picture was took by a lady called Gwen Faulkner, and she took that photo, and she also took this photo here, which not many people are aware of. Now, this shows some passengers actually boarding at gate D26. So, and I say allegedly boarding at gate D26. Now, I had to do a bit of digging about this and make sure that this was the gate, which I did, by identifying the ramp at the back there and the fire extinguisher and the layout. And when I've looked around Dulles Airport in some of their videos they've got, and passenger videos which I've trawled through, that I think that's the only ramp in that area that takes you up onto the different area of the concourse. So the passengers would have been around here, if you can see my cursor, and over in this vicinity here. And as you go through that particular door, that leads you down to go and board the aeroplane. So we've sort of gathered a bit of evidence there from Gwen's photograph that she took. Now, this is the school children here and the teacher. And I sort of identify them here by using some letters. But it also captured inadvertently some of the other passengers, which I'm going to identify now. So I'll probably flick back and forth. So these are the other 4 passengers that it identified in that I identified in that photo. If you look at A, Dora, she's over here. You don't see her face, but I would contend it's a strong possibility that that's her because of her haircut. If you have a look.
Yeah, it does look like her, or the hair.
Yeah, and it may be the same type of jacket, maybe, that she's wearing. Perhaps, I don't know, but it's very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have B, which is Dong Chung Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got D, which is Robert Penninger. And back again, we've got G, which is Karen Ann Kincaid, I think her name is. Kincaid. So that was for me, that's some evidence that we got some passengers at gate D26, allegedly, and I'm using that, putting that in, allegedly, to board flight 77. So I did identify them using some official sources, which I've put there. Now, since I've done this, the links have changed for some reason. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm going to update them links. They've not changed very much, but the Pentagon's or the memorial sites updated them. Now, this is John Wesley. Now, his wife was actually apparently on flight 77. I'll just go back to the picture. She's over here, stood behind this girl, and got the hat on there. That's his wife, Sarah. I don't know if you can see her in this picture. I think she might be over here. So he talks about what he's been shown regarding CCTV footage. So I'll just play this. Just make sure the volume's up.
Authorities allowed John to watch the boarding gate tape. He saw 2 of the hijackers looking at a child playing with an Elmo toy, seniors being pushed on board in wheelchairs, and students securing their backpacks.
And for me, how could you look at that and then still do what was on your mind?
Authorities.
So quite interesting that video there, because he apparently he's been shown some videos of the boarding procedure at the gate. So whether, again, we believe him, I tend to believe what he's been shown, or whether what he's been shown is real, that's another story, but I tend to believe this person. And again, we've got another photo here, part of this set that Gwen Faulkner took on 9/11 after the passengers had boarded, what she took them photos of. And the only problem with this is I cannot identify the tail number, but it is showing an American Airlines plane 757 at gate D26. But this is, again, not without conflict, this particular issue, whether a plane pushed back and took off from that gate. We do have a plane at the gate, it appears. And I tend to believe this photo is real, that she shared those photographs. So I'm tending to believe that there was a plane there. I cannot identify it by tail number, though. So whether it's the plane we've been told is a different story, but I'll get more onto that in a second. So, as I said, Gwen Faulkner She took the 2 photographs of the school children and teachers and other passengers at the departure boarding gate. And she also took this photo here, stationed at D26 gate on 9/11. So I'll be coming back to that. So I just want to move on to, this is Renee May. She's a flight attendant. Now, again, we've been looking for evidence. Now, this is a little bit of new stuff for people. I am a little bit restricted on what I can show with this, but I am going to show you some of it. And there are documents backing up this footage where it came from. Again, I'm leaving the door open if it's, it seems to me real footage. Although there is some anomalies where there's no date on there and time, but there is some date added on these, so I'll just get on with this. So apparently this is Renee May turning up at Dulles in the security area. This is outside before they go into the screening. I'm not saying the time is correct on this, but this does appear to be her, as we'll see in a second, at the gate and been identified. Seems to fit her, really, I would say. Now, I'm not showing you the moving footage of this. There's some reasons behind that, which I cannot talk about at this time, but I still wanted to share some of this stuff. So I'm going to share a screenshot. I will show you some footage of a particular passenger, but in this instance, I should be using some screenshots. So we have Charles Burlingame. He was on flight 77 allegedly. He's the captain. And we have what seems to be Charles Burlingame going through the screening area. When you actually see the moving footage of this, you can sort of get a bit of a feel as he's walking forward that it could possibly be him from his build when you look at other photographs of him. It's very, very similar. And then we got the co-pilot David Charles Boyce, or Boys. He was the co-pilot. And here we have him there at 7:21 going through the screening area. Just leave that up so people can see it a little bit. Now, again, there are moving sequences of this. And we have another flight attendant that was captured, Jennifer Gore-Lewis. And you can see her approaching screening area there. And you can see her here going through the area. She does actually turn to the right when you watch the full footage, off in the direction, in that particular direction that AA-77 another passenger goes. We got Vicky Yancey, passenger on flight 77. Again, we've tried to identify the passengers through some of the photographs. Been looking at their build, height, and certain features, trying to identify them. And it's believed that this is Vicky Yancey because of the build, hair. Very looks very much like her when you look at other photographs. Again, this was a moving sequence, so you sort of get more of a feel with the with what you can look at and tell. She does move a little bit closer. Again, she's going off to the right. Now, this is an interesting one. Now, this was pointed out to me today, actually, of all days of doing this. So I thought I'd include it. And it's come from a particular person on YouTube called Henry Ford. Goes under that moniker or handle. Now, he pointed this out to me, and he said the possibility it could be. So I went and had a dig round and had a look. Just to say, the person here is Mari-Rae Sopper. Now, she's the particular person I will come on to and show footage of her. She's got the cat with her. It's actually, we'll get on to that. But here, we're questioning now whether this is Barbara Olson that's been captured on the CCTV. So, I'm just going to run this because we can actually, I'll show this particular sequence. I'm not saying it is, but there's a strong possibility. Again, when you're doing investigative research, we sometimes we can't make a completely, statement to say that this is so and so, or this is this. This is part of the investigation that we've been doing for years. So here we go. Keep your eye on the lady in the red. This is from a video with, because I'm going to play it again in a second. So what we were looking there is Mari-Rae Sopper captured on Dulles CCTV, but it inadvertently does show the lady in red. I'm going to keep playing this a second just so I can explain it better. So here we have this lady in red. Here's Mari-Rae Sopper with the cat. Now, at the moment, I'm interested in the lady on the red, not this person there, what we're pointing at in the video. Right. So I'm just going to jump off that. And I'll come back to Mari-Rae because I've probably got the sequence a little bit mixed up because I've quite a lot in this presentation. So this particular video doesn't pop their face up in front of it. So was that Barbara Olson? So we're trying to get from now. This is a different camera angle that this video's took from because there was two cameras. So this is a screenshot. Oh, sorry, this is a video in slow motion I made. And then it pans to the other camera. Now, there is some things which are quite could call it out to be Barbara Olson. Now, she was on C-SPAN a couple of days before she lost her life on 9/11, or allegedly lost her life, I should say. Now, she was originally planned to fly to California on the 10th, not the 11th. Because she wanted to be with her husband, whose birthday was on the 11th. And we all know about her husband, Ted Olson, and some of the things that's gone on with what he said. But she has got this red jacket, and she seems to... Now, whether this is the same clothing, I don't know. But I find it quite uncanny that she's wearing red in there and black. Obviously, that does go together. But it's this video still on the left is from a couple of days earlier. Now, she does seem to like the colour red. Perhaps this is more pinky red, but in this one, she just seemed to like that red colour. And I just want to move on and address this while I'm at it. Some people believe that Barbara Olson has actually had plastic surgery in his lady booth. I tend to not buy into that. I've had a look at different pictures, and I think they may have picked certain pictures that look familiar with each other, but I tend to not believe that Lady Booth is Barbara Olson. There's also some other people who've been named to be Barbara Olson as well. Again, I'll leave a few percent open that it could be, but I'm not at this point sort of down that rabbit hole with this Lady Booth that's been circulating the internet for many years. I think we've all seen the 5 hijackers passing through. Just double check. This is from a different camera angle, which a lot of people didn't know. There's Mari-Rae passing through there with the cat in the box. This camera angle wasn't widely known for a long time, which shows we got one of the guys here, apparently alleged hijacker, passing through. Here he is. Again, there's no date and time stamp on this. Here's apparently another one, I think, passing through. Some more footage here. A lot of this was released with a law firm called Motley Rice. Now, I'm not sure this individual is in the blue top, this lady, but she does look familiar to me, but I haven't been able to put a name to her yet and study through the actual memorial. She may be on another flight. As you can see an alleged hijacker being using the wand to see if he's got anything on him. Again, I'm going to look into that lady, whether she's anything to do with Flight 77. It's all very time consuming, this research. It takes up a lot of your life. Here's a close up there of the other alleged hijacker being what they call wanded when he's being screened. Then you got this other one in particular in the white there as well, hanging about, going through. Were these people alleged hijackers? Now, and I'll just get onto this because this is an alleged, which I've heard, a 6th hijacker that was never identified. Apparently, I don't know how true that is, but I have seen a documentary from an individual who's quite a controversial individual amongst our group, actually. So they claim there's an individual, I won't mention his name, who claims that this is a 6th hijacker. He actually made a movie called 6 on 77, so you can track him down. Adam has mentioned this particular person who made this documentary, which I took on board, what Adam has said. So this is just going through who we've seen it apparently in this CCTV. And if it was these individuals, they could have been actually taking part in a training exercise simulation. Stop that. Move on. I think this is just the same. Some more CCTV. probably skip through this. Again, it's a different, showing you in a different, a lot brighter on the footage. Probably skip through this. Actually, this is somewhere they just highlight who they are. Lots of perhaps propaganda in there. Now, I just want to go back to the departure gate, which I'll go back to Flight 77 and some departure gate issues. Now, beg your pardon. The official data provided by the NTSB indicates that Flight 77 did not depart from gate D26 and departed from the opposite side of the concourse at a gate further east, possibly gate 19 or gate 21. Now this has been determined through official data evidence that contradicts what we've been told. Now, this has come out through Pilots for 9/11 Truth some years back, and this piece of research actually shed a lot of light on some of the discrepancies that I was looking into myself. So this is to do with the IRS data, and I'm going to play this so you can hear this.
On trial, the government narrative of events. Exhibit B, departure gate and latitude-longitude coordinates based on data. It has been reported that American Airlines Flight 77 departed Washington Dulles International Airport at approximately 08:20 a.m. on the morning of September 11, 2001, allegedly from Terminal Concourse D, Gate 26. Does the flight data recorder positional data provided by the National Transportation Safety Board support such a claim? This illustration is a diagram of Dulles Concourse D and their respective gates. It shows gate D26 on the southwest corner of the terminal. This is the raw latitude-longitude plot based on the information as seen in the raw flight data recorder file provided by the NTSB. As you can see, there is an offset from the runway during departure. This is further evidence which we will get into a bit later. The system generating this data is called an inertial reference system, or IRS. Color coding is recognized as green is the parking spot the night before engine off. Red is engine start after pushback. Yellow M2 is forward movement into a turn. Red M3 is radio altitude at 3.
Yeah. Can you make this video bigger, or is that part of the PowerPoint? Like, you can't make it bigger? There's no bigger button?
I'll see if I can...
Otherwise it's all right. It's hard to see the.
I'll see if I can zoom in.
Let's see. Okay, yeah, that works. Perfect. That's genius. All right, yeah. Let's go.
I'll see if I can play it still. Hang on. What would I press for play? Do ya? Where's Andrew Johnson when you need him? No, it's not letting me. I just told it. I'll see if I can get that to. It's very clunky, isn't it? The presenter view. Show presenter view. Screen. Display settings. Just escape out of that. See if I can.
Sorry, it's muted. You know, I was saying, can you go, yes, I was muted. Press play and then zoom in afterwards.
Yeah, I'll see if I can.
So just play the video and then zoom in afterwards. So no, it's after you're playing, and go to the spot, go to the actual spot that we were at, or even from beginning possibly. Yeah, just play from beginning, or just play from now. Yeah, let's go and make it bigger, and let's go. Now zoom in. Alright, just zoom in. And maybe use your, okay, so it's stopping. Just press space on your keyboard.
Yeah, I tried that earlier.
Okay, so I just zoom out, and then we'll just do that. We'll just play it
It's
again.
it's just clunky, isn't it?
Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
That's why I usually always put links so that if something doesn't work, I just open up something.
Yeah, just one.
Let's just go back and play it, and we'll just keep it as is.
I'll
D, gate 26.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does the flight data recorder positional data provided by the National Transportation Safety Board support such a claim? This illustration is a diagram of Dulles Concourse D and their respective gates. It shows gate D26 on the southwest corner of the terminal. This is the raw latitude-longitude plot based on the information as seen in the raw flight data recorder file provided by the NTSB. As you can see, there is an offset from the runway during departure. This is further evidence which we will get into a bit later. The system generating this data is called an Inertial Reference System, or IRS. Color coding is recognized as green is the parking spot the night before engine off. Red is engine start after pushback. Yellow M2 is forward movement into a turn. Red M3 is radio altitude at 3 feet. First indication of liftoff from the runway. After adjusting the latitude-longitude offset, the positional data has the aircraft departing a gate further east of gate D26 and on the north side of the concourse. On closer inspection, according to government reports, American Airlines Flight 77 departed gate D26 from Dulles International Airport. The data provided by the NTSB does not support such a pushback. This creates more doubt with the government narrative of events. Exhibit E, departure gate and full alignment. As we have discussed, according to government reports and recordings, American Airlines Flight 77 departed from gate D26 at Dulles. However, when the latitude-longitude data is adjusted for the 3,000 plus foot offset, the data shows a departure from a gate other than D26. American Airlines requires a full alignment, as opposed to a fast alignment, prior to every flight, with the pilots physically inputting the latitude-longitude coordinates of the gate provided by navigational charts into their navigational system. The aircraft should have never left the gate with such a large error within its navigational system. Although some aircraft have the ability to update its position in flight, an update is very different from an alignment. Any updates in flight will not be accurate if the initial alignment was not achieved at the gate. Expert witnesses and American Airlines captains, including captains and pilots from other airlines and not affiliated with Pilots for 9/11 Truth, had this to say after viewing the latitude-longitude offset shown in the data.
Yeah, it's
Probably not going to be able to see that, yeah.
Yeah, I could read that. There's no possible way to update that, etc. And so we could.
I paused that. Were you reading that? Yeah.
Yeah. So when the pilots align the IRS, the present position from the Jefferson Gate coordinates chart is input by the FO and is double checked by the captain pilot, especially pay any close attention to this procedure on a long flight such as it was reported on this IAD LAX. There's no possible way, even if the FO and captain input the wrong latitude longitude, which with aligned IRUs, that an American Airlines 757 could align an error offset in flight for such large error. No such a short time as is depicted in the data garbage in, garbage out, and the captain and FO would have also noticed such a large error if not the gate, etc. And then, but during the taxi to the runway, and if such a large error could be corrected prior to departure, they would have had to return to the gate. Interesting. So yeah, why was there that big error? That's the thing I'm wondering. Why was it not?
Well, what it's indicating is, if we just go back, if you look at that, when you that's like the
yeah, you can zoom in if you want because we're not playing the video. If you could zoom in.
Yeah, I'll try and I'll zoom in on that.
Yeah, perfect.
So when that should be along this runway here, but the thing is, this should line up with gate D26 here, and it doesn't. It actually lines up on the opposite side, east, but on the north side. So we're going east, and on the opposite side of the concourse, which is the north side. And when you actually look at it, when it's close up in, I mean, I've done an article on this. You can see from, I think it was about 2020, something like 2019, and you can see that it's actually either gate D9, well, gate 19 or gate 21, not gate D26. So it's a very, very damning evidence. And as we spoke about, I think it was when I was on before, maybe with you, we had the ACARS, and there was that delay in a non-existent flight number in the ACARS data for 20 minutes just before takeoff, when it shows that the flight ID went from AA 0011 to AA 0000, which is very, very strange. Sorry, AA 77, not 11.
Yeah. And just to reiterate on this delayed one here, so it's not aligned at where D26 is supposed to be, but why do you think it was just like it's not on the runway? So what do you think is happening? They just made a mistake, or they were trying to put in the D26, but they got it in the wrong one, or
I actually how can I put this? I'll jump onto the next slide and I'll explain more.
Okay.
Because it'll make sense. I mean, I should do a complete thing. I've wrote about all this, and I've done talks about it, but it goes over people's head because you're dealing with a lot of information, all crammed in on at time. So if we look at this BTS data, now this is the Bureau of Transportation Statistics. Again, they get this data from the aeroplane, the ACARS. So ACARS data collects how the plane's performing. It knows when the sensor of the wheels leave the ground, precise time. It's all recorded, no human intervention. Once that sensor knows the wheels have no contact with the wheels of the ground, it's recording that. So it's very precise information. So the BTS, Bureau of Transportation Statistics, the flight 77 had an unknown tail number. It was scheduled to depart for LAX at 8:10. Actual departure time was 0. Scheduled elapsed time was 3:26. Actual time was 0. Departure delay 0. Wheels off time 0. Taxi out 0. Essentially, what that's telling us is that plane did not leave the ground. you should have that information contained in that, telling you the wheels off time, and it would be precise. Now,
yeah, that is pretty damning.
it is now. What could be at play there? I'll just veer off a second. What could be at play is because we've got an unknown tail number in there. Was the passengers at gate D26 on that picture of that plane? What Gwen took with them passengers on? Was that plane grounded? Did it not take off with the passengers on, or did another plane took off from on the opposite side of the concourse? It's all possibilities because of the data, you see, because we know that plane didn't actually turn round in mid-flight like we were told. It actually disappeared off radar for 18 minutes.
Yeah.
And a lot can carry on in there. I mean, it was something like 10 minutes for the FAA, I think, and maybe some other organisation, not needs, but in that area, it disappeared for 18 minutes. Now, we know that there's other radar showing it went over towards Missouri and over St. Louis Airport. So something possibly took off with them passengers on, or something didn't take off, but another plane did. This is where the duplicate planes was some of these being inputted simulations. There is some suggestion of that, but there's also suggestions, especially with Flight 175, that when they turn the sims off, the simulation blips on the radar, they would disappear. Yet, if you look on MSNBC at 10:25, you've still got Flight 175 in the air, flying over Connecticut.
And I have a question. For all the flights, did they all go off radar at some point? Every single flight, or most of them are?
I think some of them did. I think 175 changed its transponder code 2 or 3 times. The other 3, their transponders went off at certain times, and they all go off before or around just before they're going to do that strange turn.
Wow, that's another.
Yeah, which is
that's like a smoking gun right at that
yeah,
time.
that's a pattern, isn't it? You know, it could be like an Operation Northwoods going on there, where they are inputting something else, as we've spoke about with the image projection stuff. But something was going on, but something was still on radar with AA-77 flying over Missouri. That's a fact. That's in their documents. I've produced about 3 or 4 pieces of evidence to prove that, including the radar. Now, an interesting bit here is 3 of the flights were going to LAX. Now, this video is from a report. I think you've seen this, Matt, as well.
Yeah, you sent me this one. This was
very
amazing.
telling. I'll just make sure this is turned up first.
Yeah.
And we'll have a listen first. Here we go.
We want to take you out to Los Angeles now. A couple of the planes that were hijacked were bound for Los Angeles. John Dupree, our correspondent there, has some late-breaking information for us. John?
John, the ripple effect of this disaster felt clear out here on the West Coast. 3 of the planes which crashed today were bound for Los Angeles International Airport, where you find me now. American flight number 11 with 92 people on board, American flight number 77 with 64 people on board, and United flight number 175 with 65 people on board, which may have crashed into the Pentagon, all bound for Los Angeles International Airport. Their numbers were not even on the arrivals board here. No one had begun to come here to pick up passengers arriving from those two cities.
Well, there you have it. So none of anybody was coming to pick up or gathering for them 3 flights to pick up the passengers or anything.
And
nobody.
I just want to say, what were the numbers again? They said 92, 92 for the first one. How many? And then 65 for which one was 65? Both of them, or?
I think it was Oh God, I can't remember off the top of my head. Do you want me to put it on again?
Yeah, just play it again. I need to write this down just to compare with the official data.
Los Angeles now. A couple of the planes that were hijacked were bound for Los Angeles. John Dupree, our correspondent there, has some late-breaking information for us. John?
John, the ripple effect of this disaster felt clear out here on the West Coast. Three of the planes which crashed today were bound for Los Angeles International Airport, where you find me now. American flight number 11 with 92 people on board, American flight number 77 with 64 people on board, and United flight number 175 with 65 people on board, which may have crashed into the Pentagon, all bound for Los Angeles International Airport. Their numbers were not even on the arrivals board here. No one had begun to come here to pick up passengers arriving from those three.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Got them all. Yes.
Yeah.
92, and then 60, 64, and 65. Yeah. 65 was the United 175.
77.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 64 was the 77 one. Okay.
Yeah.
So 92 is correct. 64 is correct. And this one here, I have this minus that. Yeah, so they're all correct. Yeah, so those are the numbers.
Yeah.
That's included.
So I'll have to update that slide.
Yeah.
So I'll move on to United 93. We've sort of covered a bit of Flight 77. Just to say, anybody who wants to look at all the telemetry data that I've done with all these flights, I've posted a lot on Substack about all that stuff. So it's all on my original blog as well, which I started about 11, 12 years ago. So everything's on there, even to do with the Simon Shack stuff that I debunked and Ace Baker. Everything is on that particular original blog. So anybody interested in the telemetry stuff, go there and you can get any links off Matt. Or I think Matt's building a quite a big database of links as well, aren't you, on your links page?
Yeah, on MES links on Telegram. Basically, go there and search anything, and you should be able to find it. If you don't, let me know and I'll put stuff in there. And
that's cool, because that creating that is like a great database. It's probably better than sometimes trying to find things just doing searches. You know. So we'll get on to United Airlines. So see if we can bring some other new information here. So this photograph here, Nicole Carol Miller was doing the rounds on the internet recently. Now, this was purported to be at Newark Airport. Now, I was nearly took in by this myself, but me being me, I like to go and have a really good look about what's going on with some of this new stuff that's come out. So this was being circulated that she was at the airport at Newark because she was actually on vacation when not with 9/11. Now, I eventually found out that this was not took on the 11th. This was actually took either on the 10th or the 9th because she was on vacation with a friend. Now, this is according to her father. She was not meant to be on the Flight 93 because there was, as we know, a lot of us who looked into the Dr. Judy Wood stuff, there was a storm in New York, quite a bad one, the night before 9/11. So her flight was cancelled and she ended up on Flight 93. So that was the delay. So I happen to think that this passenger is real. I've done quite a bit of research on this passenger. I've accumulated quite a good profile with photographs. Again, I do leave the door open that I might be being conned myself by some of this stuff, but I think I get quite a good feel that this is a legitimate passenger. So this is the photo. The original photo of this was cropped off, didn't show any of this bit here. but I did manage to track down the full version of this photo. So not many people know that this is an uncropped version compared to what you see floating around on the internet. Although this is probably on there now because I've shared it a few months ago. But this actually shows her going down an AA gate area, boarding area. She's got the passes. Now, this is when you could actually go up to near the area. Now, apparently a friend took this photograph, which I've sort of verified to some degree by tracking down the person's name and investigating in the way I do. So I won't name a friend. I'm a bit cautious to disclose people's names sometimes because what has happened in the past, and I just want to put this out there, is when we were doing the 9/11 Alchemy film, videographers did not want to have anything to do with us. When we were nice people, just asking them questions. Nothing terrible, not bad questions, just legitimate questions. We got quite a cold reaction from most people. Now, there was a couple, there was 2 or 3 who did talk to us, who were very nice, very open to what we were looking into. But what the feeling was that some people had their names dragged through the dirt by the people like Simon Shack, Killtown, Ace Baker, all that crowd. They were called shills, accused of faking their own footage, all this stuff. And one particular lady, I think Jennifer Spell, her business suffered because of what she videoed, and she wished she'd never have videoed the second plane. And I think sometimes we can forget that was a trauma. I mean, it's bad enough watching what unfolded on television for a lot of people. But people who were there, onlookers who probably videoed that, probably for them quite traumatic. And I think that gets forgotten a lot of the times. But somebody like Jennifer Spell, her name on the internet was mud. And that was quite distressing for her. And she was polite with us. Chris spoke to her. I think she may be friends with him on Facebook still. I messaged her, and she was quite nice towards me when, in the message. In fact, I sent Norman part of that message. I did contact her. Wasn't nothing much, but it's not great when you're pulling people's names. They're not going to talk to us. So this is why sometimes I hold back with names for the moment, because I don't want anything damaged before we can try and extract some information out of people. So just move on with it.
And I just want to make a point about that. Yeah, so Ace Baker and Simon Shack and those guys, that's the similar playbook to Alex Jones and how he kind of goes after the Sandy Hook family members and so on. But in a way, and again, Sandy Hook, I have my views on that too. But the way it's presented is such that it seems like they're all attacking the victims, and then that's where YouTube and the government starts putting in policies, such as going after victims of victims of what's it called, the violent events. So it's part of the cycle. So you need guys like Ace Baker to push that, and then there's so that's the problem, and then there's the reaction and solution. So reaction is outrage, and then the solution is censorship and government regulation.
Yeah, exactly that. And legitimate people who do get close, what that's set up for somebody like Richard D. Hall, that's got him into some hot water, who's been doing it politely and legitimately.
Yeah.
Talking to people. They've made him out to be like some disaster troll or whatever. Now that's all been set up, but what you've just said by Alex Jones, your Simon Shacks, who were promoting things. And I've got to say, it's absolutely ludicrous. He thinks that the people in New York were part of, it was all green screen. Green screen, get this.
Yeah.
That was all done in a studio, green screen.
Right beside the moon landing studio.
I mean,
yeah.
I had a friend who lived in New York at that time who witnessed that second plane.
Yeah.
I didn't know about him until 2010, 12, something like that. But he was there. So I actually know somebody, and I said to him, well, did you watch it on the telly? Or did you see it? Or, to see how he'd been influenced? He actually seen that plane. Mm-hmm. And I know there's another gentleman, he's no longer with us, who I tried to contact, Scott Forbes. He seen the plane, and he was in disbelief that how that plane went into the South Tower, because he was actually on the phone to some work colleagues who was in the tower but got out the tower, and he said if you'd have had a recording of that phone call, you'd have known it was for real what he was observing. So anyway, this is what this happens with, and the fam. Just think about this for a minute. So any legitimate family, like what we're looking at, Nicole Miller here, if you're going to approach them and say your daughter's a simulation, she never existed, you're not really going to get anywhere. Mm-hmm. So you have to tread careful. And I think this heavy-handed thing about them being simulations, I'm not ruling out simulations, which I'm going to come to at the end of the presentation. But I know something was amiss with 9/11 and the passengers and the planes. I know.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Proving it and piecing everything together, which is what I've been trying to do now for, I don't know, 11 years, something like that. I've been interested in it far longer, since 2004, but actually publishing and trying to piece things together and information, it's very time consuming, and people want answers immediately, and you can't always do that. So just to move on from this, we'll just go back to this. I have got pictures of Nicole actually on this vacation. Now, I have to take them as legitimate. I've got video footage as well from a family do that was on, an event with the family. So, and you do see this person. But again, we know there's things like Operation Northwoods and things like that go on, or witness protection programs. So I never 100% rule that out, but I'm pretty 99% on this person. Now, this is one of the strange cases for me, and I think this one is, out of all the passengers on 9/11, one of the strangest. I think I'll go through this one. I think I sent you something about this, didn't I, Matt, as well? So we've spoke behind the scenes about this case, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've spoken about this one. It's just when he was wasn't on the flight, and then he was later or somehow.
So did Mark Bingham board United 93? That's the question. So it's admitted in the 9/11 FBI commission files that Mark Bingham was not assigned a seat number on Flight 93. Now, that is a fact. It's in black and white, and that was early on in their very early on in their investigation, by the way. We're talking on the same day and day after. Again, here it is. This is a photo I took with my phone of one of the documents. Like I say, I've been building an archive of documents, both paper-based and digital. And the reason I've done this is because years ago I was into the JFK assassination, and I know researchers built both had paper-based archives, because the internet can go down any time. It can wipe out everything that you've got online, which is I know if it could be a nuclear thing that could wipe out or something our documents, but I've slowly built or building a paper-based version of what you're looking at on this screen there. And it's saying a review of the flight manifest. Now it's telling you the flight manifest revealed there was no seat assignment for passenger Mark Bingham. A review of his mother, or interview with his mother, Alice Ann Hoglan. Now I'll come back to that name. A UAL, United Airlines flight attendant, revealed Bingham was travelling on an employee pass. This may be the cause of why he is missing the missing seat information. Not true. That isn't true at all. What I mean by that is the statement's true that he was not on the flight manifest. But what isn't true is that he was flying on a pass. Is why he never shown up on a seat number. That's not true. Not true at all. Apparently, he was flying on his mother's sister's pass. Apparently, which is what I found out. Now, where you're going to fall down on this problem? Now, this posed a problem for them, and you'll see why in a moment. Because there's no way he would have got on that plane, even with an employee pass, and not shown up on the flight manifest. There's no way. There's no way he'd have got on that plane and not been given a designated seat, because they are that stringent with the manifests. It's impossible. You know, we're not talking somebody jumping on a train and, you know, conning the way in. We're talking of a different thing. And I know things were a lot looser in America back in 2001, but their protocols would not allow him to not have a seat number, or, you know, or even be designated the seat number on that manifest. So, just I'd mention that. So, the confirmation he didn't board is the manifest. So, this posed a major problem. So, here's a picture of the manifest. He's not on there. I've gone through that, if you can't see it. But his name's on there. Not on there. So, that posed a massive problem. Now, this is where it gets weird about Mark Bingham. It could be totally innocent, but to me this appears weird. And I've spoke to Matt about this behind the scenes. So about a year ago, I came across this memorial stone of Mark Bingham. Yet the name on there is Gerald Mark Bingham, not Mark Kendall Bingham. Now, I know his father was Gerald Bingham, but this makes no sense why they've put an actual stone there, Gerald Mark Bingham. That makes no sense whatsoever to me. And I did put a call out to some American friends to find out what was going on with that. But I find that quite odd, why that is like that, and his name's in quotation marks.
Yeah. So
what do you think about that, Matt?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So basically, also I just want to check if the audience can hear my voice properly. Some of them are saying my volume was low. Is my volume fine, guys? But yeah. So what I want to clarify. So this Gerald Mark Bingham. This is the actual Flight 93 gravestone. Is that what? But his name is Mark Kendall Bingham. Like I'm getting
Bingham.
Bingham, yeah. So this is, but yes, just to just clarify, this is actually his gravestone.
I'm not sure. I've got to double check that. I've been trying to track down where this is. It does exist. It's off a site. I've got to, because of this. I was doing so quick at putting it together.
Yeah, I could do a reverse image search right now on it, just because the thing is interesting is because his actual name is Mark Kendall Bingham.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his dad's name is Gerald. So if there was
Yeah, and his dad was known as Jerry as well, with a J.
So if there was
Jerry.
some sort of like what are those witness protection programs? They just might say, okay, Gerald, your nickname is Mark in this military exercise. I'm gonna do a reverse image search quickly. This is because that's, to me, that's another bombshell. Like I don't know how you could. How anyone could explain it away, but even if there is an explanation, it's like how many different anomalies do there need to be?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's some memorial because that name at the back.
No,
I need to look the name up at the back. See, this is ongoing research. I've had to put this PowerPoint together. I mean, I've only had a few days really to gather it all together. It's not something I was intending to do, but I thought. When we sort of said do it, I've done it in little bits.
So that does look like it's legit. Okay, this is on. This is the Union City dedicates 9/11. I'm on the thing. Is there Bingham? But yeah, those are the exact monuments for the 9/11 to Flight 93. So that's an actual Flight 93, like the setup there. And there's photos showing Mark Bingham. Bingham. I'm gonna go find image. I could share my screen if you want, or. Okay, now if I do on your Substack's the only one that shows up when I do an exact image search, which is interesting.
Right.
So someone actually took a photo, but that photo is on this Alomari website.com. I'll send it. It says it's stock footage. So they probably took it without any rights. So there's actually an area for Flight 93, Bingham. I just gotta find this quickly. I could.
See, sometimes you think somebody messed with it, but we did an obituary search. Do you remember that the other night when I sent you that stuff? And it actually had on the area about Gerald Mark Bingham. It's been in another place. This isn't just not a one-off.
Yeah, obituary. I'm just gonna do this.
The thing I find strange about the photo is them squares in the middle, which seem to show the background. But they're not the background. Are they mirrors? Because you don't actually see like.
It's a plaque, I think. I think it's a reflection. Because you could see the number writing on it. There's other photos of that. I could. It's actually photos. I think there's several. There's videos also on it. I could share. Yeah. So they're not actually see through. They're actual images. So I can show you. I can share my screen quickly, and then we.
I'll just come off mine. Let me just say.
So we'll take over and you can control after. Just it's this pretty interesting research we're doing live right now. Google Meet. Okay, so we're on this right here. So you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Union City dedicates memorial to 9/11's Flight 93. So these are images that are placed of. They're not actually see through. There's the gravestones and interesting how they all set up. They all look like the monolith. And
yes, that's right.
Yeah, so I got the monolith set up there, and if I do reverse image search, it shows this. Google used to have a really good reverse image search. Then now they made it horrible. It's just like links to websites. They used to have you can sort by different sides and whatnot. So Alomari or whatever alami.com shows the Mark Bingham, but it has a link to it, but I don't know where it is. It might be inside Flight 93 because this would be, and I have the obituary opened as well. Okay, okay, it's not showing in there, but it does show up that that's actually there. It says there Mark Bingham, but you got to zoom in. It's hard to see, and if I do an exact image search, so it used to be much better. Exact image, the only one that shows up is yours. There it is. And then so then if we go Jerry Bingham. This should be Flight 93, so it's official. This is his obituary, Jerry Bingham. But you said his name is actually, the name
Mark
is not even
Kendall.
Kendall.
Kendall. Yeah. Kendall.
Yeah, so I will stop presenting this one. So yeah, so that's a great find. So you can, so if you want, you could present. Why is this thing showing up there?
I'll go back to.
Okay, you're presenting now. Yeah. So now you can you're already presenting. You can just go back to your PowerPoint. It will show up. I think it will. I don't know what this is.
Yeah. Hang on a second. Is it back on again now?
Yeah. Okay, I want to pin for everybody. Or okay, this is it. Yeah, it's showing up. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So live on air, we're doing a bit of research there.
Yeah, live research. So this is a real one. It actually literally says Mark Gerald Bingham, and those are the monolith, the gravestones. And his actual name is Mark Kendall Bingham, but his father's name is Gerald. So so maybe if you want to do some snooping, if you want to do some snooping, try to contact Gerald, his father. But again, be courteous.
His dad's passed away. I got to mention that not long ago. I think I put it in there. His dad died some years back.
Okay. And Eve says it's pronounced Bingham. Okay, Bingham.
Yeah, Bingham.
Right. Interesting.
So that's to me. That's quite. It comes across strange. It could be something innocent for all we know. Is it a dedication to his dad? But why would they do that?
And
if his dad was alive still.
And also want to chime in, and it's also the one person that's missing from the flight manifest.
Yes.
It's not just like one thing; it's like a parlay.
Yeah.
So
and then we're going to get on to this because out of all the family members, now I'll just let people into a little bit of knowledge. Some years back, I had a lady who was a student of Peter Hyatt, who's a statement analyst. Mm-hmm. People might have known of him. He's in a lot of Richard D. Hall's films. And this lady was a student of his. And I asked her if she could do a bit of statement analysis on a Larry King live with some of the family members. You can watch that on I think it's on BitChute or YouTube. It might have been blocked on YouTube now. The actual interview Larry King done with all the some of the family members of Flight 93. And it was interesting what came back with some of the results. This particular lady as well, she helped Richard do these, what got him into a bit of hot water over the Manchester incident. Now, there was interesting that she come up with some deceptions. Now, I just want to go to this clip here. I just want to say, Alice Hoagland is delighted on September 12th on the Today Show. I actually stole that bit from Norman. So if Norman's watching, I actually stole that off from his that title from him. So, this is an interview on the Today Show, September 12th, regarding what happened to her son, Mark Bingham, on Flight 93. Some people believe she gave quite a performance. Just want to make that clear. Some people believe. So I'm just going to play this. I'm going to make sure this is up. Yeah. Ready.
It was devastating enough to watch the attacks on our country unfold on Tuesday, but for many Americans, the devastation hit much closer to home. Moments before jetliners were deliberately crashed, there were a series of chilling phone calls made by victims aboard those doomed planes. Alice Hoagland got one such call from her son. Ms. Hoagland, our condolences to you.
Appreciate that.
Your son, Mark Bingham, was on board United Airlines Flight 93. That's the plane that took off from Newark, bound for San Francisco, and the plane that eventually crashed in Pennsylvania.
That's right.
Can you tell me about the call you received?
Yes, we got a call about 6:45 in the morning yesterday. The house is full of people because we just have new babies in the house. A friend answered it. Carol Fitz went and got Mark's aunt, Kathy. Kathy spoke to him first. He told her, "I love you," and she said, "Mark, we love you very much." And then Kathy ran and got me, and Mark said, "Mom, this is Mark Bingham. I love you. First of all, I want to tell you guys I love you." And I repeated, "Mark, we love you very much." And he said, "I'm on a flight from," he identified it to Kathy as Flight 93, United Flight 93, from Newark to San Francisco, and the plane has been taken over by 3 guys, he said, who say they have a bomb. And I asked him, "Mark, who are these people?" And He didn't hear me, didn't get the question, didn't answer it, was distracted, and I asked the question again. I heard some commotion in the background. Mark seemed to be talking to someone else, or someone was talking to him, and then the phone went dead. He told me at some point during the conversation that he was not calling me with his cell phone. He was using the air phone, probably at his seat. We know from other sources that he was sitting in seat 4D, which is the first class on this United flight. I'm a flight attendant for United Airlines, as is my sister Candace Hoagland, and Mark was flying on her companion pass. That's how they knew to contact us.
Ms. Hoagland, terrible. You say you heard some commotion in the background. Can you describe that for me?
Well, the FBI has asked us similar questions, asked us if we heard Mark mention anything besides the bomb. He made no mention of knives or box cutters or guns or any other weapons. He mentioned the 3 guys. He wasn't able to get out word about their description, who he thought they might be. I couldn't make out anything distinct from the background. I was trying hard to hear his voice, which was coming over clearly when he was speaking. He spoke fairly slowly, calmly, although I could tell he was under a great deal of duress.
After the phone went dead, Ms. Hoagland, how long was it after that you heard that indeed that plane had crashed?
The call came in about 6:45. We understand that the plane crashed about 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And so I guess probably by the time he hung up with us, or the phone went dead, it was about 3 minutes. He had about 12 more minutes to live, I guess. We hope that Mark was able to take a proactive part in thwarting these hijackers. So I have hope that he was able to. He was in a good position. He was forward in the aircraft, could probably be in full view of everything that was going on, probably saw what happened in the cockpit. He is a very active, take charge, assertive young man. We have it from other people, another man on the aircraft who called his wife, who said that he and some other passengers were hoping to get at these guys somehow. So this was the only flight of the 4 that did not reach its target, which they believe to be Camp David, and that gives us reason to think that perhaps Mark was able to help save the lives of people on the ground.
Yeah, there was another cell phone call made from someone who'd locked himself in a rear bathroom who said that we're going to have to do something because it appears we're going to die either way, and we have to try something. I mean, it appears that something heroic did take place on that flight.
I firmly believe that. Mark has been in a clinch in times past and has come through with flying colors. He's a Cal grad, rugby player, very assertive guy, aggressive and smart, and we love him very much. We're going to miss him.
I can only, I think this might be a weird way to describe this, Miss Hoagland, but the phone call in some ways has to be thought of as a gift.
Oh, we were very comforted to be able to get the news from Mark himself. Somehow it made it much easier to take. It's awful. It's a national time of mourning for all of us, so I'm just one of many, many people. We're so touched by the words of our president, by the words of the Congress people, hearing America being sung on the steps of the Capitol building. It's just profoundly moving for me. I'm delighted to see this rebirth of patriotism among the American people. We need to be strong and work together to overcome this hatred that's taken us over.
Well, you are amazingly strong given the circumstances, Ms. Hoagland, and our condolences, our severe and sincere condolences to you and your family.
Our whole family appreciates it very much. I'm delighted to be able to express to the world how much we loved Mark Bingham, my son.
He sounds like an amazing young man. Ms. Hoagland, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Wow. What a brave and eloquent woman at a very difficult time. We should mention there has been some speculation that we've alluded to throughout the broadcast that somehow a few passengers on that United flight that ultimately crashed outside Pittsburgh were perhaps able to overpower the hijackers, that plane perhaps was headed toward Camp David, even the U.S. Capitol. Again, this is just speculation.
Knowing what we do about the plans of these hijackers to hit some sort of significant target, it would be hard to imagine that a field in Pennsylvania would have been their chosen destination.
Anyway, so again, she was extremely courageous to talk with you. The impact of this attack.
There you go.
It was devastating.
Right.
I never heard that before. That's quite wild when she started promoting George Bush and the patriotism. And
Yeah. I actually got that. I mean, I've seen that video before, but today I was in a rush to try and track some of it down for this presentation. So I stole that off Norman's Rumble.
Yeah, and Norman said, he said, don't steal, that's intellectual property, don't steal his joke. Right.
Yeah, he's funny, yeah. So just to go over that video a little bit. So to me, what stood out, knowing, because I'm not, I've got to say up front, I'm not a statement analyst. I have got a background in psychology, so I can understand presentation of people, how they present. So I'm not a psychologist, but I have got a background, part of a professional background, which deals with psychology. So some things that stood out for me, and this is not a professional opinion, I want to make that clear. This is just some things that stood out for me as Joe Blogs. There was a lack of presentation for me in real grief or sense of loss about a son. That's one thing that stood out. The other thing is she appears to be smiling and laughing at inappropriate times during the interview, and looking off into the background in the camera as if she's somebody's giving a direction, behind the camera or something like that. She also seems to be crying, but without any visible tears in her eyes or running down the face. And she also appears to display what some psychologists, not me, some psychologists coined duping delight. And that's smiling when they smile, when they tell a lie and they think the other person's bought it, or in their head it triggers that sort of feeling that the lie is being bought. And something else which stood out, and this was a big thing for me, out of everything, there was a real need to persuade about the official narrative. And for example, that is that she said about a son made his call not from his cell phone but from the air phone. That was a need to persuade there, I feel. And also she feels the need to mention that her son was flying on a sister's companion pass. While doing so, again, seems to be looking off to somebody behind the camera and smiling. Them things stood out for me, that she had to get them bits of information in for some reason, which is what I showed you previously about the non-existent being assigned a seat and not on the manifest. Now, this is the day after she's sort of trying to correct that information. Now, to me, that I wouldn't be expecting that from somebody who's just lost their son and giving an interview like that. I find that strange that she seems to be picking out information and correcting stuff rather than the focus on, the emotion of loss. So that didn't really stand out for me, especially the crying with no tears. I found that quite difficult to watch, and the laughing, found quite uncomfortable. Now, I just want to make it clear, I'm not saying that this lady's a fraud or anything like that. I'm not going down that road. I'm just pointing out some things that stand out for me that I find strange personally. This woman, Alice Hoagland, who did change the last name to Hoagland for some reason. I've not been able to get to the bottom of that either. To me, she died in 2020, apparently. So I'm not putting out there about things about her because she can't reply back. But I do find out of all the passengers' families, I do find Mark Bingham's mother the most difficult to watch in interviews because of the way she presents. Now, I just want to say she could be legitimate and could be suffering, grief and presenting that way, but to me, it just appears strange. What about you, Matt?
Oh yeah, definitely. And also, again, this is all tied around Mark Bingham, the one guy that wasn't on the flight manifest, and his gravestone has a different name than his actual name. And when she left, I was like trying to force myself to take her seriously, just to be devil's advocate. And then when she mentioned the patriotism, George Bush, and then she said Congress is gonna unite people. That's when she had a big laugh, and I laughed. I couldn't help but laugh at the same time. So I have like a laughter like alert signal. If I laugh, I can sense something. Something's not right. So
you wouldn't have been, more comfortable. You wouldn't have been accepting that this person has just lost a son and giving an interview like that. I'm sensing.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely not like that. And if you look at the people that were interviewing her, they looked more sad than her. Like, even the other broadcasts, they were like, "Oh, this is very difficult. This must be very difficult for you." They were ones showing actual compassion. And and again, it centers around Mark Bingham out of all the people. If it was anyone else, you could maybe rule it out, but even then, it's a bit hard.
Yeah. Now, she's a flight attendant. Now, I just want to get this in before I forget as well. As you know, you've done war games. We've spoke behind the scenes about war games, and we've exchanged things. Now, we know that part of the war games in 2002, that were being spoken about, Amalgam Virgo 02, they talk about using Delta Airlines real employees to take part in drills and simulations, and the FBI play characters. I think it was either passengers or the hijackers, wasn't it? I think. Now that was an exercise that was planned for a plane to be hijacked. We know there was it wasn't a normal day in aviation on 9/11. We know there was multiple hijacking simulations happening, and planes being flown into buildings as the scenarios. We also know from Operation Northwoods that they can put forward in that about using passengers and having mock funerals and personas of people. So it's not far beyond the stretch that this person, Mark Bingham, could be still alive and under a witness protection thing or new identity.
Or he was his dad. His dad.
Oh yeah.
That's what I mean. And also, you just pointed it out. So she was a flight attendant. That's another anomaly. Out of the one person that's missing, the mom is a flight attendant, and also she calls him Mark Bingham, and she also called her own sister. I forgot her sister, but she said the full name, including Hoagland, at the end. Yeah. So,
and it wasn't interesting at the start. She gave loads of detail about what happened, to how the call come about.
And the seat number, and that he was in first class.
Yeah.
It's like,
and so I think that's a very telling. I mean, she's no longer with us. No, I don't like to. I'm not comfortable doing this. I've got to be honest for people, but I have to speak as what I pick up, same as you would. What you feel. I'm not comfortable with the way she conducts herself on the interviews. Really. I think there may be more to it. I'm being conservative in what I'm saying, to be honest. Probably self-censoring too much because we're on YouTube, But
And also, and the Peter Hyatt, that was the technical. What is that? The
statement analyst.
Yeah. I used to watch tons of his info and all of the Richard Hall one. So I learned a whole lot from that. And you could tell even when you even when you talk to little kids, you can tell if they're lying or not because they're more obvious. But then the wording is like pretty obvious.
The words are everything in statement analysis. It's like an example would be the pronoun I.
Yeah.
Now, if you're talking of experiential experiences which are personal to you, you would be using the pronoun I. They're natural. They're instinctive.
Yeah.
You wouldn't use we or you when you're talking about your own experiences. Example, when they done statement analysis for Peter Hyatt on Neil Armstrong.
Mm-hmm.
All the way through what he was saying, he could not place himself in an experiential, what they call a phenomenological experience. He couldn't use the pronoun I. When I landed on the moon, it was, when one lands on the moon, they feel this under their feet or whatever, or one sees this. He never said, I seen it, I this and this. Very telling because pronouns are instinctual, so that again stands out for me.
And also, she said that and then we hanged up, and then she quickly corrected herself. He hanged up. So if you spotted that was another one I spotted. I'm like,
it seemed very scripted and very something was going on behind the camera.
Yeah.
In my opinion, there's a lot of prompts, the laughing, very, very strange indeed, very strange, and to me. That tells me a lot what was going on. I think when you combine it with all the other evidence with Mark Bingham.
Mm-hmm.
So we could potentially, perhaps maybe he wasn't as what we've been told. As you know, which I've shared with you, again behind the scenes, we are trying to look up somebody close to Mark Bingham, who we've managed to locate, haven't we?
So, the Mark Bingham, which one? I forgot which one were you trying to locate?
Yeah, I won't mention his name.
Okay.
Because we want to try and keep this person contactable.
Yeah.
We don't want anybody contacting him and calling him a shield. So, it ruins your chances of trying to make contact with these people.
Yeah, I'm just.
But you know who it is. I've sent it you behind the scenes, didn't I?
Yeah. I'm just reviewing it now.
Yeah. So now this particular person dropped Mark Bingham off.
Yeah. I remember perfectly.
Yeah. I haven't had time to put the clip in, but I am going to clip all this stuff together and expand on this PowerPoint and refine it better. It's just that I haven't had as much time as I'd have liked. But so we'll get on to CC Lyles. Yeah. Now, what I can preface with this is I was approached at a Dr. Judy Wood and Andrew Johnson talk. Now, Dr. Judy Wood wasn't there in person at this particular talk in 2016. She was appearing via a live link. And after it had all finished, a lady approached Andrew Johnson and started talking about the planes. And Andrew said, I think you need to talk to Mark. He's done research on the planes. And at that time, I'd only done mainly a lot of research on Flight 93. And I'd found out about the flight paths and all the discrepancies and about it landing at Reagan National Airport. And I was building evidence about that. Anyway, I showed this lady who happened to be a flight attendant for United Airlines. And she worked in America. And she had interactions with CC Lyles to the point where she actually, CC had left her coat on one of the, or a jacket on one of the flights. And this woman kept hold of it until she seen her and give it back. And this woman sent me some stuff, some like a commemorative 9/11 thing that United had. She actually done a copy of it for me and sent it to me. That was only given to employees of United Airlines. So I showed her my research. She was dead impressed, and she was really supportive of it. So, but what it leads me to believe is now, again, she could be lying, could be pulling the wool over my eyes, but I didn't sense this person was a liar. And she did back up with some pretty good stuff, especially the things she sent me to do in 9/11 United. And I tend to believe that CC Laws is an actual real person, not a simulated person or a persona. So I just wanted to put, because I have been asked about that, why I think that, and I'm perhaps not mentioned it as much as I should about meeting this flight attendant who Andrew, sent her over to me. So, by the way, CC Law was an ex-police officer before she became a flight attendant. So, and I think this is very telling with what we're going to listen to now. So, she made a cell phone call to her husband, but he was asleep. So she left him a voice message. Now, we're going to listen to the voice message. I'm pretty sure everybody is probably tuning in tonight. The show's probably heard of this, but I'm going to play it anyway. I'll just check the volumes up.
Tuesday, 9:47 a.m. Hi, baby. Baby, you have to listen to me carefully. I'm on a plane that's been hijacked. I'm on the plane. I'm calling from the plane. I want to tell you I love you. Please tell my children that I love them very much. And I'm so sorry, babe. I don't know what to say. There's 3 guys. They've hijacked the plane. I'm trying to be calm. We're turned around, and I've heard that there's planes that's been flown into the World Trade Center. I hope to be able to see your face again, baby. I love you. Bye. End of message.
Right. So, have you got anything to say about that, Matt, so far? Just that one?
Yeah, that one. If you listen carefully, there's actually voices in the background. It took me a while to finally grasp them, but once you hear them, you can't unhear them. I made a compilation on my Telegram. If you just search up CC Lyles on my Telegram, you guys can see it, and it literally has people saying. One person saying is like whispering, saying to hang up, and I forgot what else they said, but I'll have a
yeah.
So
That's cool.
Someone's talking to them, and there's no. And it doesn't seem like they're in a plane, in my opinion. There's no background plane noise.
No. I think that's a telltale. Different to Betty Young's, isn't it? Where I know she's on the airphone, but you can hear the plane.
Yeah, so I have it on my Telegram. So in the background it says listen carefully. Like there's a voice saying listen carefully.
Yep.
And then also, no, she's the one who says listen carefully.
That's it.
Yeah. So the background noises says you have no time left and hang up. That's what I heard, and it's a frame.
Right.
It does seem like that as well.
Yeah. So I'm just going to put an interview on with Lorne Lyles, who recalls receiving the phone call from his wife, CC Lyles, on her cell phone, which he thought was strange. So I'm just going to play this. I'm sure everybody's seen it.
9:30. That's when the call started. Then I guess I didn't answer the phone until the last time she called, which was, I think it was like 9:51 or something to that. It was towards almost close to 10 o'clock by that time. And then that's when I get the phone call from her, and I actually had a chance to speak with her. And I'm waking up out of a sleep, and she just saying, "Babe, listen." And I'm like, "I'm listening." And she said, "My plane has been hijacked." And I said, "Stop playing," because I'm just waking up. You thinking that but she ain't never. She said, "I never played with you like that." She said, "Listen to me. And I heard the fear in her voice. I heard the fear. I heard the desperation in her voice to get out what she had to say. And she said, "My plane has been hijacked. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going to happen. But, all I know is this, I love you." She said, "I love you. Tell my boys I love them. I don't know if I'm going to see you guys again." And I'm like, at this point, my heart is like beating. I'm like, am I dreaming? Am I sleeping? I didn't know whether I was still dreaming or what. I didn't know whether it was real or what. But I'm listening. So at that point, I stopped. I said, "Okay, well, let's pray." So we prayed, and then she told me that, she said, well, we're getting ready to go to the cockpit, and I'm trying to figure out what she's saying. I hear people in the background screaming, and I hear some bamming, and she said, okay, it's getting ready to happen, and then we got disconnected. And then that was the last time I spoke to her. Then once the phone got disconnected, then I sat up in the bed, because I did all this laying down. I sat up in the bed it was like I just woke up. I'm like, was that a real call? So I looked at the caller ID and noticed that it was a call, and it was from her cell phone. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. How can she call me from on the plane from a cell phone? Because cell phones don't work on the plane. That's what I'm thinking.
So even he's thinking that the cell phone calls don't work on a plane.
Mm-hmm.
So very interesting that.
Yeah, and the mainstream narrative is an airphone. Yeah, so that's
yeah. I think they were forced into admitting that her phone call didn't come from an airphone, and they've tried to put Thomas Burnett down as an airphone, but Dina Burnett also held strong that her phone calls are coming in because she knew the caller ID was Tom's cell phone. So, and they struggled to really, but they did try to put them two calls down from Thomas Burnett and CC Lyles as airphones. So they know they're in trouble with them cell phone calls. They know that there's a clanger drop there with that, obviously. And they're into damage limitation with that, which is what I think was going on with Mark Bingham's mother, getting it out there quick to stem the damage.
Mm-hmm.
So, so did CC Lyles try to tell us a message in her phone call? She asked her husband to listen carefully, which is what you mentioned earlier. Also, at the end of the call, it seems to say something. She seems to say something which some people believe it's a frame. That's one of the contentions, what's going about. It's a frame. It does sound very much like that, although there are others that believe there's another person saying, you did great. That's another contention.
But she says sorry, that's the one thing. So,
she says, so you can hear it's a frame or you did great. Now, the you did great sounds, the voice to me sounds different to CC's.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to it. So when you hear it's a frame, doesn't sound like, to me, it doesn't sound like CC Lyles' voice. It sounds, I could be wrong. I do, when I listen, I do hear it's a frame, and I hear you did great. If it's you did great, it's coming from somebody else next to her, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to play it again.
I have to play it slowly.
Yeah. What many people never talk about is how she hung up the phone.
Yeah.
It's almost like she's trying to leave the phone line open a bit longer, and she's having trouble, or she's deliberately trying to keep the line open. And you can also hear, and I'm pretty positive it's her saying sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Before the phone cuts off. So I've got a loop of this on the video, so I looped it 2 or 3 times, so hopefully you can see what you think. I'm not saying I'm right, I'm not saying I'm this, that and the other, just observations, so I'll just play it.
End of message. End of message. End of message.
A bit of an odd one, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a tough one. At first it does sound it's a frame, But if you try to force it, you could hear you did great from a different voice, like one of those guys whispering in the back. But she says sorry. She just says sorry. That's the one thing. So, regardless, it does seem like there's definitely people behind her. Even her husband said there was voices in the background.
Yeah.
And possibly coaching, or it's like waiting in line for their turn.
Well, it's you don't know who was maybe trying to force them, and with the script, I'll just say something to do with what's well known in statement analysis is the number 3. Now, number 3 is known as the liar's number, and I'm not meaning CC Lyles is a liar or any of the passengers who say there was 3 hijackers. But it's strange how a lot of them use that number 3 is embedded into that story with the calls and stuff. 3 hijackers, this, that, and the other. So I just thought I'd get that in. Now, Peter Hyatt is quite big on that. When somebody's going to lie, they'll say, "Oh, I tried to ring you 3 times." It's a number that crops up a lot. You know. Yeah, I'll just move on. Right now, we didn't really with CC Lyles. It's difficult. Like you say, you picked up some other things in the background. She might have been under duress to stick to that script. She does show emotion at the end, doesn't she? I think she knows her fate, as in what is going down.
And also about the statement analysis, if you she emphasizes like the words. When people emphasize specific words, that's when they have more emotion tied to it. So I think the one word that emphasized the most is hope. When she didn't say "I hope to see you again," she says "I hope." She like literally forced the hope to see him again. So that was I think that one thing stood out to me.
Yeah, I think she. My personal opinion is, I think she's under duress to read that script, but some emotion creeps in, and they've even possibly now. Anybody who's been on my site will know I've posted some videos about United holding exercises leading up to 9/11. You know, some of them out the blue, not organised. You know, on the ground for the people lower down who are doing the working on the air traffic control and things like that. So it's very possible that she may have been involved in a training exercise that's gone rogue. And the script, which we'll get onto about that other document I sent you, which we and you can have a chat about in a second, which hopefully might make a bit of sense to what we've gone through with some of the phone calls and the passengers. So we'll move on. This is Patrick Welsh. Now, this gives me a little bit of room because it's nice to hear that, you know, there's actually a family member who hasn't bought the lie. I think the heroic thing was to bring patriotism, the feeling of patriotism and heroes. It's quite a common thing. Emotionally embed the people into the story, which we know the stories were written by Zelikow, who was an expert in writing public myths, you know. So this is Patrick Welsh's disbelief. Now, I've known about this video since about 2007, 8. But I could never find it. I knew I had it, but I could never find it because back in the early days, even before I started publishing and doing, you know, full-on research myself, I used to save videos from different places, and this one is part of an actual bigger video, which is. And I've took this segment of him out of it, Patrick Welsh. So I'm glad in one way that I managed to track this video down. It has been on an hard drive for a while. I can't remember if I downloaded it around about 7, 2008, around that time, might have been 2000. I think this might be 2006 because the truth movement was really quite big on around the loose change time. And I know YouTube started about, what was it, 2005, 6, 7, something like that. So, but I know I got it quite early on and I was chuffed. I've been trying to find it for ages. It wasn't labelled up on my hard drive. It was labelled up under something else, actually, which the video is. So I managed to edit this out, and so I think I sent it Matt as well and around. So here we go.
Hi, my name is Patrick Welsh, and my wife was Debbie Welsh, and she was the purser on Flight 93. She was the lead flight attendant on Flight 93 that went down in Shanksville. And I've been a 9/11 truther for a little over a year now. And only recently have I discerned that Debbie's flight was really, the probability of it being this heroic, overpowering of these horrible men was actually a much more sad, tragic ending.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with him.
Yeah, no, that was great footage. I'd never seen that ever. And I tried to find a link to it because you sent it to me, and then I was trying to use a reverse image search, trying to find the link using the quotes on it. So it's not on YouTube. It's nowhere besides. Basically, I put it unlisted as a trailer for this this live stream.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can't find it anywhere. Even on BitChute, I can find. So that's because this one is big. Yeah, this is a big one.
Yeah, it's one of them downloads I've grabbed years ago, and it's been sat on a hard drive. But I had, like I've said to you months ago, I've got that much on a hard drive to try and go through it. I could spend the rest of my life going through some of the stuff. But I came across it purely by accident. It actually took out of, I can't remember what it's called. It's a documentary. It's like a truther documentary. And I took that segment out. That's why you hear that little piano in the background or keyboard thing.
Yeah, and I was trying to find the full documentary in that one.
Yeah. I haven't got the full documentary. I've got it's about 8 minutes long, and that particular bit is actually at the start, so I just grabbed it straight out, edited it out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is another indication, I think, that something was always not right with this flight. So we're looking at the co-pilot, Leroy Homer, and Jason Dahl, the captain. They flew Flight 93, allegedly. So on the morning of 9/11, Anthony F. Mazza was working at Newark Airport as a fueling technician. And one of the planes he provided fuel for was United Flight 93. Now, in the cockpit of the plane, he met a person who apparently was neither Leroy Homer or, I meant Captain. Oh, yeah, Leroy Homer Jr., the co-pilot, nor Jason Dahl, the pilot. So this fueler went on to exchange paperwork and to, I think he may get something signed or something. And he did not recognise either of those two people, in particular Leroy Homer. I'll just explain that. Now, I'm going to have to read this out to some degree because it's quite a bit of detail, and I wanted people to know about it. Now, this is taken from an interview, Anthony F. Mazza's interview with the FBI on the 19th of October 2001. So I'll skip this bit because we've said he's a fueler. I'll just find my way through it. On September the 11th, prior to its departure and crash in Western Pennsylvania, Mazza stated that everything seemed normal on the flight, including the amount of fuel that was pumped into Flight 93's tank. Mazza stated that prior to the passengers boarding Flight 93, he had completed fueling the plane and proceeded to the cockpit to inform the co-pilot of the completed task. This has been the standard operating procedure for United Flights out of Newark for many years. Mazza entered the cockpit where he handed the fueling sheet to a young Caucasian male, well-groomed, brown hair and a white shirt, who was sitting in the co-pilot's seat. The male responded to Mazza by saying thank you and taking the paper from him. Mazza then departed Flight 93 prior to the passengers boarding. Mazza stated that this was approximately 30 minutes prior to the scheduled departure time, which would have been around 7:30. Just continue with this. Here's the FBI report. On Friday the 12th of October 2001, Mazza saw a memorial for the crew of Flight 93 and saw pictures of the co-pilot of Flight 93. The picture was the actual co-pilot of Flight 93, who was Leroy Homer. Mazza stated that he was certain that the co-pilot he spoke to was not Mr. Homer. Now, the co-pilot, as we look, has got dark skin, the person of colour. So, this leads you to the question: who was sat in the who was the male in the co-pilot's seat? If it wasn't neither Leroy Homer nor Jason Dahl, because you can guarantee they would have put the two up on the screen. After seeing the memorial, after seeing the memorial, Mazza obviously took the initiative to contact the FBI. Had he identified Dahl, whose picture he certainly saw too, as the male, he would not have felt compelled to call the FBI. So he didn't recognise either of them, which compelled him to call about this. When interviewing Mazza, the FBI surely asked him about this possibility and probably showed him photos of Dahl again. In any case, the absence of Dahl in the report makes it clear that he was not the male either, and Dahl was 43 years old, not really a young man like the male, as described by Mazza. What do you make of that, Matt?
Yeah, this is. I saw this from your Substack, and again, this is another bombshell on top of like a million smoking guns. Yeah, so he did not see the co-pilot or the pilot, like a person that. So and I'm trying to think who could it have been if it assuming there was just some sort of misunderstanding. Well, he's calling the FBI. It's 30 minutes before. Why isn't the co-pilot in the plane 30 minutes before? And they were shown photos. So why would they show photos of the co-pilot to him? If he's so it does seem it's pretty straightforward. He thought the co-pilot was somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, he would have recognised if it was Jason Dahl.
Yeah.
I think, and Leroy Homer was the co-pilot, not the captain.
Mm-hmm.
So he was neither of them, and they don't fit the description of it. Neither of them really.
Yeah.
So what might be at play there is we know from the Bureau of Transportation statistics that Flight 93 took off at 8:28. So going back to the ACARS data, when the wheels and the sensor knows it leaves the ground, it records that as 8:28. Now that's sent to the BTS, Bureau of Transportation Statistics, and it's recorded and it's in their database. Yet we're told by the official story that Flight 93 took off at 8:42. That's 14 minutes too early with the BTS. So are we looking at duplicate flights again?
Mhm.
Who knows? But the other thing, well, we've got all the other evidence of the flight being somewhere else over Champagne, Illinois after the crash. We also got a flight being over 15 miles past the crash site and 69 miles past the crash site in Hagerstown after the crash. So we've got 2 flights in the air at the same time. That's been that's been observed, and that's and also ACAR's messages connecting and actually being received by the plane at 10 past 10, which is 7 minutes after the crash. It's impossible. We also have Colonel Marr, who was told on radar that Flight 93 was circling round Chicago. So that's another damning piece of evidence. And we also have that Flight 93 landed at Reagan National Airport at 10:28, and I have an Excel spreadsheet to prove that. Well, a screenshot of the Excel spreadsheet which proves that. So, and also Flight Aware, which shows a screenshot of that before it was updated to the official version, that Flight 93 landed at 10:28 at Reagan National Airport. Now, just so everybody knows, Reagan National Airport was closed for 23 days, and it had a threat that it would never open again. It was the only airport to close for 23 days on 9/11. All the rest opened up after a few days. Reagan National kept closed. So, again, what do we read into that? Did they have a couple of planes they needed to get rid of? The other thing is Reagan National Airport is a mile away from the Pentagon as well. So there's a lot of security around that, and it's the flight zone. So it's a controllable airspace, as in like military wise. So if you was going to carry out an operation and maybe take a plane there, Reagan would be a good choice as an airport you could control. Being so close to the military with all its restrictions as well. So just thought I'd mention that, because what this Maz has seen could have seen the other plane with a different pilot. Now, while I'm on about it, we know that Triton White, who's an ex-American football player at the time, in 2006, said that when they landed on the tarmac on the Tuesday morning after a Monday night game, he observed a plane that was loading some passengers on the tarmac, and then the following week he was informed by a flight attendant that what he observed with them other passengers on the tarmac was Flight 93. Now, he gave that account in an interview with the papers, which I have. So, was that the other plane that was on the tarmac loading some passengers? Who knows, but he was informed that was Flight 93. The other thing is, regarding Flight 11, we have an eyewitness, because we have the same problems with the BTS, saying that it never left the ground, yet we have radio ground control saying it took off from gate 32. And plus we have Flight 11 still airborne after the crash, apparently, on NORAD communications official recordings, and it's on its way to Washington. Now, again, I've got a couple of reports at Washington that the Secret Service made a phone call and said a plane had crashed into the White House. They sent a fire crew out to that in the fire department, and also a construction structural engineer department for structural damage. They sent them out as well, along with the fire people. When they got there was no such occurrence of a plane crashing into the White House or any structural damage. Now, that was at 9:46. Now, we know that Major Nasifany, who was designing a lot of the exercises for 9/11 and in the past, when the North Tower was hit at 8:46, he made a comment saying, and he's on record with this, saying they must have started the exercises an hour early. Now, an hour early is 8:46. He thinks the exercise, if it's an hour early at 8:46, should have been for 9:46. So is he referring to an exercise at the White House that was meant to kick off of a plane crashing there? And we have Flight 11 flying towards Washington. Was that really meant to be taking part in an exercise at the White House as a simulation and a flyover and then landing at Reagan National Airport? I think there's a strong possibility for that.
Yeah, and also speaking about the White House, I'm working on a video on the electromagnetic interference at 9/11, and I've gotten like a whole lot of footage, like it's like over 40 minutes, might be even an hour of just like
And, there's a lot.
Yeah, and one of the helicopter reporters, the reporter on the helicopter, like midway through one of the towers turning dust, she says that she got reports that the Capitol was hit. So even she was saying that's what she's hearing on the.
Yes, there's a lot of that, and actually at 9:50, the White House was evacuated. So we got this report to the Secret Service of a plane crash at 9:46, and then we got the evacuation of the White House. I sense and it was the Secret Service that made this call about a plane crashing into the White House. It wasn't a random thing. It was they called the fire department, and I think this was part of an exercise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and another note, I got it actually, I think from one of the videos you sent. The George Bush, he was inside that elementary school. But that was known, like he was going to go there 3 weeks in advance. So the alleged hijackers were going to a White House, didn't have the president. So why would they? So in other words, they knew that he was going to be at the elementary school. Yet they're going to go to the White House for some reason.
Yeah. And there's some strange things with that, isn't there? At the school with the things in the background and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like they, and he actually said that he was seeing the first plane hit, which nobody's seen that because it was never released until a good few hours later. I think the next day, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he was probably seeing the
feed.
No, he was getting it from the mystery planes, I think.
Exactly, yeah.
There are 3 different angles to make sure, so he's watching on 3 different angles, possibly.
But absolutely. And the other thing is the C-130 plane that was over the Pentagon, which is meant to be all innocent. We've got on record an interview with some of the military personnel who you can hear on the tapes, and they talk about previous exercises involved a military C-130. Now, he showed up at the Pentagon and be observing and confirms a plane hit. Right, okay. I mean, do we trust him? If in the past they've been using these C-130s in plane crashes and exercises, but he's also flying over near Shanksville. Never heard about the C-130 in Shanksville.
Okay.
But we do have other VFRs that are flying around as well, who say they've seen a plane at 8,000 feet. Now, whether I believe that, they could have seen the projection, I don't know. But it definitely weren't Flight 93 that was at that crater, I don't think. Judging by the crater.
Which is the one you said 8,000 feet? Is that the one that I talked about, the one who looked at the window? Or is that a different one? Because I think it was 4,000.
It's in actual clusters of VFR. It's actually, you can hear it in the
VFR
communications, yeah. That means it's flying below radar.
Okay.
Like that. So, they say it was flying at roughly 8,000 feet. I've also got something I discovered was when an interview about, I think it might be with Paul Thumser, where they were asking about, can you see the plane outside? It should be to your left, on about flight 11, I think, or 175. And they say they can't see a plane.
Oh, wow. I haven't heard of that.
Yet they're telling them, obviously they can see on the radar screen
And he can't see it.
where the plane, and they're telling him where to look, and he's saying he can't see it.
Okay, that's another interesting. I never
Yeah,
heard about that.
I've got to sort that one out. I only come across it probably last week or so.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to go back to that. Also on record is Steve Soul, who says that Flight 11 was below 10,000 feet and doing 300 or 400 knots, and he was very concerned about that because of the speed.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Below 10,000 feet. So, again, is that confirming about the impossible speeds, what we spoke about. So, that's the MAS of it. So, we sort of tie that up now. I want to just probably nearly come to the end of this. We can have a good old wag then and get back on screen. But Jason Dahl, who was the wife of Sandy Dahl, the wife of Jason Dahl, she died suddenly back in 2012. And I'm just going to put this on. It's a news report. Now, I only come across this a few years ago, but I can't say I found it strange, but you never know with these things. By the way, she was a flight attendant as well. That's how they met. So I'll just make sure that's turned up.
He was one of the many heroes of 9/11, the pilot of United Flight 93. But tonight, 7 News confirming the wife of Jason Dahl, Sandy Dahl, has passed away. And for many years, she has served as a voice for many 9/11 victims. 7 News reporter Don Champion live, and Don, Sandy, certainly a well-known community member, and her passing very unexpected.
Very unexpected, Mark. I spoke to several people who sit on the board of the foundation that bears Sandy's late husband's name. They tell me she died in her sleep last night while spending the night at a friend's house, leaving behind a legacy just as strong as her husband's. I think we're having some trouble
It always feels like a train is coming every year.
10 years later, Sandy Dahl still wore her late husband's wings and wedding ring. Jason Dahl was piloting United Flight 93 when it crashed during the terrorist attacks of 9/11 in Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
I have to deal with it. It's in my life, and I wouldn't wish this on anybody.
Last year, on the anniversary of the attacks, Sandy Dahl spoke to Ann Trujillo about the weight she still carried from the tragedy.
Heard on the cockpit voice recording, screaming in Arabic, screaming in English, screaming, and they went supersonic into the ground.
So you listened to the recording
4 times. As a flight attendant, I know exactly what I was hearing too.
Sandy and Jason were married back in September of 1996 after years of dating. She worked as a flight attendant at the time. When they met, the couple was said to have been head over heels for each other. After Jason's death, Sandy created the Captain Jason Dahl Scholarship Fund, which gave aviation students scholarships. Sandy also became a well-known voice for families of 9/11 victims, all along keeping Jason's memory alive.
We packed so much into the 10 years that we were together, and it was just under 10 years, but so many vacations, so many holidays, birthdays, traditions. Nothing was a small deal to Jason. He did live like he knew he was going to die, and not in a morbid way.
And this is a look at the website for the Captain Jason Dahl Scholarship Foundation. We're told the foundation and Sandy had just gotten together just about 2 weeks ago to give out 10 scholarships to students. According to a statement from the foundation, Dahl is now survived by her daughter and 3 grandchildren. Reporting live tonight, Don Champion, 7.
What do you make of that then, Matt?
Yeah, no, that's very, very interesting, and she's promoting that and so on. And a message from the chat says that they were married on September, and then what day? So American Fathers, what day is that? Is that September 11th they're married? I don't know about that, but yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's and then she's found dead Friday. Is there any other info on surrounding her health, or if she became a 9/11 truther at 2012?
Well, this is like, the flight American Airlines 587?
Yeah.
That had a very prominent 9/11 activist on there. He was challenging the Bush administration, and she died on that plane. That went into, was it in Queens? I think it come down. The one that Dr. Judy Wood used as evidence of the hard right and left and the engines coming up from the wings. Yeah. Well, there was a very prominent 9/11 activist on there, as in, you know, to get to the truth after what happened. Can't remember her name. She's got blonde hair. I must include that. If I can.
I can see. I'm on the wiki right now. Passengers.
Yeah.
There's 251 passengers. So that's interesting. So 587, 251. That's pretty much like all of the ones combined. All of the 9/11 ones, all 4 planes combined equals one of this. So that's another thing.
Yeah.
So that's another thing is the flights were very undermanned.
Yeah. Although I have heard people say that sometimes that is the case with some of the pendulum flights, what they call pendulum flights, going to Los Angeles, back to Boston. Flight 11 was a bit of an institution, what they call an institutional flight. So it's like it was like always running, you know, at that time. So it would be departing at 7:45. That was its shift, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And it'd be going to LAX.
No, but it's also on a Tuesday morning, so that's the busiest time.
Yeah.
And it's beginning of September when school and stock market is like highest traffic. So. There's
a lot of. I don't rule anything out really. Anything I'm open to.
But you're right. We always need to do to find several pieces of corresponding evidence, not just random. Not just the 587 is the same as all of them, and but again, this one could be lowered. But then at the same time, even if it's lowered, is it that much lower than a regular flight? That's the question.
That's it's something. You need to try and get into it. It's hard because of the time passing. It's going into the pages of history, this event now, like the Kennedy assassination, and it gets harder. There's something I'm going to mention, which I don't think I've mentioned before now. I was talking to Richard D. Hall a few years ago, as I do on and off sometimes, or when I've crossed paths with him. And he told me that a friend of his was working in a travel agency and tried to book on them flights, and the flights were still open to book onto.
Wow.
And that come from Richard D. Hall. He told me that.
Yeah, that's I think I may have recalled him saying that, but that is yeah, because the flight probably like everything was still running. They had to go. There's like a delay in clearing it out.
I think he told me that when I went up to his pad when we done with Andrew that show on the Layers of Deception show. Back in, I think we recorded it in the July 2017, and he played it on the September the 9th or something like that, or the 11th. I remember him telling me about that. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I'm gonna. So what happened to the passengers? Let's discuss.
Pretty much discussed.
That's it. I'll come off the screen now.
Okay, and and it's we're at 3 and 40 minutes. I'll end it in a few minutes. I just wanted to
I'll just
so the question about passengers. I'll share my Excel file, and then I'll present now. Where's that Excel file? Passengers. Okay, so you can see my Excel file. So this one, it would be a cool thing to work on in the future, and then basically put everyone in there, and so you can see my screen properly. I'll show your face here. 1 second.
I'll just mention as well later on, before we end quickly, the victims' compensation, and I've got a quick clip with Dylan Avery talking about some of the passengers who he's met who've raised concerns with him about what they believe. Which is quite an interesting clip when he come to London. This was Dylan Avery. I'm not saying I trust Dylan Avery. I'm not saying I trust the Loose Change film either, but I just thought I'd mention that.
All right. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, I just see my screen. I'm trying to sort some stuff out. Yeah, Google, I don't know why it just doesn't show it, so I'm going to unpin this. Okay, I'm stuck here. Okay, so I'm stuck. Okay, I'm just not going to show all skull, I guess. Okay, so you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, so this is, I think, and then I have it in the link so anyone can go and download. I could probably send it to you as an edit as well, so you can edit directly on the screen if you ever want to add notes.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So I think the Mark Bingman one is so there's several one of them, but again, at the end of the day, there's still 265 passengers total if I've added these correctly. And I also have made a pivot table that I can update here. So this is a pivot table and shows you passenger, crew, hijacker, and this is the ones that are in red. This one is the one that the data I got is from the CNN setup is wrong. So the passenger, it's one. This should be 76 passengers for the flight 11 and 49, or I know 51 for the this one. So it should be, but so I think there's one person that's mixed up in both, but it's 265 is the right number.
Wow.
And then I think I forgot which one you had. You said 58 for one of them, so that'll be interesting where you got that from.
Yeah, I'll have to look up there.
Yeah, because then you could.
Might have been an early report I got it from.
Yeah, possibly, and because I got it from the CNN one, as I think it's pretty old as well. So if there's some sort of more missing people instead of just the Mark Bingham, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I have it all sorted out in here, all of this, and I have a bunch of links here as well. And I put the notes. CNN made a database error possibly, and again, the cool thing is you could sort by everything, so you can so you can go. Let's go Shanksville. Is that Mark Bingman, or which one's Bingman one again? Flight 11.
Yeah, 93.
Oh, 93, okay, so that's the one with the image, and yeah, so we can flight 93, and you can see Bingham, there it is, and you could sort by, so this one is Gerald, Gerald Mark Bingham, and then you can add links and so on. So I will be updating this as each time I find, and I think it'll be pretty cool. And then also the password recovered, and another thing is, people brought it up, the ringleader is age 33, so the Mohammed Atta.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I want to go quickly to the hijackers. We'll go only hijackers, and then I'm going to go, so age 33, Mohammed Atta. So that's that, and I'm just going to close this. I think we're done with this one, and I will...
wow.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a screen one more time just to illustrate about the hijackers that were still alive. So it's not just the passengers. The other passengers are... This one. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's showing that. Okay, I'm going to share another screen, and then we will say goodbye to everybody, because I need to get going. What time is it where you're at right now?
22:01 in the morning.
Oh, okay, morning. Okay, so...
so we're in a different day to you. I'm in Sunday now.
Yeah, I'm at 4:41.
You're still Saturday.
Yeah. I'm still in I'm daytime, so almost dinner time. Okay, so the Mohammed Atta one. So again, you can go on my Telegram, everybody. You can search. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can just go there and have a bunch of hijacker stuff. Infinite one here. This is the other one that there's apparently a fifth plane. This one is sent by Mark Conlon that was never took off, and there's a full documentary there. And the hijacker. Where's the so this one right here. So 9 of the alleged 9/11 hijackers. Actually, we could play this video, and then pretty much call it a day. But also, so Mohammed Atta's father said that his son called him. So remember, the ringleader, who's age 33, born on the same day that the tower's construction began, the 68, said that his father called him. No, his father said that he called him. This is September 2nd, 2002, a year later. So the father, Mohammed Atta, alleged ringleader, said in an interview published yesterday his son was still alive. He's in hiding in a secret place so not to be murdered by the Secret Service. All right, his 33-year-old son, and also Mohammed Atta's father was 66 when he was on the phone there. And he said that described hearing about the attacks. So speaking from his home in Cairo, Egypt, Mr. Atta described hearing about the attacks after returning from a holiday in the Red Sea on the evening of September 12th. My daughter called and said she was going to drop in. She stood at the door and said, "Turn on the TV." He said, "I met images of the jets crashing into 2 hours. He saw his son's passport photograph. As I saw the picture of my son, he said, I knew that he hadn't done it. My son called me the day after the attacks on September 12th at around midday. We spoke about for 2 minutes about this and that. So the father's saying he was still alive.
I've seen a video of his dad saying that.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I've got to track it down.
Yep. So I have to watch it. And also, throwback, and also the mainstream news also said that the initial hijackers they got them mixed up. So throwback to when FBI got their 9/11 hijacker stories mixed up, and some of the hijackers were still alive. So you had this one here, hijacked suspects alive and well. This was literally September 23rd by BBC. Another of the men named by FBI as hijacker was turned up alive and well, and he was protesting his innocence in Casablanca, Morocco. Okay, and I'll play this one last video, and we'll call it a day, I think, because I need to get out of here. Let's play this one here. I think I've muted. Okay, I will unmute.
Names of the alleged 19 hijackers. But on September 23rd, the BBC reported that Walid al-Shari was alive and well in Casablanca, Morocco.
Actually, can you hear my audio? I think.
No, can't hear that.
They can hear my audio. I'll share it so you can hear it as well. I will share, and I got this I think I got it from your website. Present something else. Brave tab. I have to share a single tab to hear audio. Okay, so you can hear audio. You should be able to do it. Allow on this and play.
2001, the Department of Defense. So what about the hijackers?
So you can hear it?
Yeah.
So what about the hijackers? On September 14th, 2001, the Department of Defense released the names of the alleged 19 hijackers. But on September 23rd, the BBC reported that Walid al-Shari was alive and well in Casablanca, Morocco. They also tracked down Abdulaziz Alomari, who was an engineer with Saudi Telecoms and lost his passport while studying in Denver. In the same article, FBI Director Robert Mueller admitted that the identity of several of the hijackers is in doubt. So how many hijackers turned up alive? At least 9 of them. Wael M. al-Shari is alive and well. Mohammed al-Shari is alive in Saudi Arabia. Khaled al-Madar is a computer programmer in Mecca. Salem al-Hazmi works at a chemical plant in Yanbo, Saudi Arabia. Saeed al-Ghamdi is training to be a pilot in Tunis. Ahmed al-Nami is an administrative supervisor for Saudi Airlines. We already covered Walid and Abdulaziz. And last but not least, Mohammed Atta's father claimed to receive a phone call from his son on September 12th. On September 20th and 27th, Mueller admitted on CNN that there is no legal proof to prove the identities of the hijackers.
That is true. There's definitely no proof for these, and their passports are being found before. And also another point that I have it actually, passport. So you brought up that at Shanksville there was no jet fuel found at Shanksville,
yeah,
right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So so according to the Wikipedia, so this is the one that is one of the guy, the Satem Al Sakumi passport. His was found before the South Tower fell. This was in Flight 11, I think. Flight, yeah, Flight 12. Yeah, I think it's from. Is he in the North Tower? Or which? Was he Flight 11? I just have to make sure.
I think he was. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Flight 11, and So it was Flight 11, and then his passport was found before the South Tower fell, before any tower fell, and Wikipedia says it was soaked in jet fuel. So I'll play this clip and then.
Another development.
Well, I have it 0.5. So we'll play this quickly. We'll run a pretty epic roll right here. Okay, so you sent something there.
On Saturday. Another development on Saturday, New York officials revealed at a news conference here in the city that a hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that. No other details were given, but the discovery prompted the FBI and police to expand the search area down in Lower Manhattan. The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that. The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that. The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that, if you can believe that, if you can believe that.
Yeah, so there's, and then if you go to jet fuel, and soaked. Yeah, so Sokim's passport survived the crash and landed, this is Flight 11, Flight 11, and landed, survived the crash and landed in the street below, soaked in jet fuel. What is going on? Isn't it supposed to be on fire? It was picked up by a passerby who gave it to a New York City Police Department shortly before the South Tower fell. All right. And investigators retrieved Mohammed Atta's luggage, which had been loaded onto the flight. All right. They found everything, even though he was on vacation in Morocco or something. All right.
I was going to say, I've sent you something quickly because you're a quicker reader than me. And if you look on your Telegram and click that link,
I shared this tab.
this is. I was going to include this in the what's it, but I think you can. You're a quick reader, so you get through it quickly. It's only short.
Yeah, I'm just going to click. Okay, there it is. I have made it bigger. Okay, so this is a
I think it was important. Yeah.
Yeah. Which one? The whole thing? Which one do you want me to read?
Yeah, it looks a lot, but it's not. It's main paragraph there, and then you just.
Oh, I think I did read this before actually, because it was basically nobody was getting it. So 9/11 Victims Compensation Fund oddities. A little background to the information I am about to share in this article. During my research some years ago into the passengers on the alleged 4 planes on 9/11. Is my audio fine? Or
it's fine. Yeah,
okay,
it's fine. Yeah, can hear you perfect.
My settings on my computer just keeps lowering for no reason. Like, I don't understand. Okay, so during my research some years ago into the passengers on the alleged 4 planes on 9/11, I came across this stunning post on the Pilots for 9/11 Truth forum. I've tried to verify the information. However, the U.S. government's Victim Compensation Fund records do not allow you to go back into the archives to verify the information, which I find very strange. So, U.S. Department of Justice, September 11th, Victim Compensation Fund. List of victims' representatives making claims. This document provided a list of individuals making claims with the fund. Names were removed from the list 90 days after they were posted, and the last name removed from the list was on June 21st, 2004. Accordingly, the list of victims' representatives is no longer being provided. Interestingly, the forum post made many years after 9/11, and no one would expect that the families of those aboard the doomed flights would have been compensated for their loss of their loved ones on 9/11. This doesn't seem to be the case, according to the information posted on the Pilots for 9/11 Truth. For anyone knows in the U.S. How to cross-check the information contained in this article, please get in touch with me. Thank you. So 9/11 victims audits. Yeah, this is where the U.S. government opened up the treasury and gave family members of those who lost their loved ones lives that day lots of money. In return, those families were basically told to shut up about anything else concerning 9/11. Considering all the lies, this horrific event, you can see why. Here are the results below. Flight 11. Of the 92 who are listed as dying on this flight, only 20 listed in the SSDI, 22%.
That's Social Security Death Index, that means. SSI.
Okay.
DI.
Okay, so 92 listed as dying. Only 20 are listed in the Social Security Death Index. So it is. And then of those 20 people, only 3 are on the 9/11 Compensation Fund list. So you got these 3 people. Okay, that's pretty wild. And then Flight 77. Of the 64 people who are listed as dying, only 14 are listed as actually dead in the Social Security Death Index, 22%. And again, another 22. Of these 64 people, only 5 on the 9/11 Compensation Fund list. So you got 5 of these: William Caswell, Eddie Dillard, Ian Gray, John Sammartino, and Leonard Taylor. And then Flight 175. Of the 65 people who are listed as dying on this flight, only 18 are listed in the Social Security Death Index, and of these 65 people, only 3 are on the 9/11 Compensation Fund. All right, so get these 3 people right here. And Flight 93, of the 45 who are listed as dying, only 6 are on the SSDI, and of these 45 people, none of them are on the 9/11 Compensation Fund, not one. Have you noticed anything strange of the passenger crew and 1175, 193? 175 and 93. Only 22, 28, and 13% respectively are in the SSDI. Of the 266 people, or 265, I think, I don't know.
Yeah.
One of the that were told died on these jets. Only 11 relatives applied for compensation. Can you believe that? Not a single relative from Flight 93 applied for compensation. Were all the relatives of the victims so rich that they weren't eligible to receive compensation? No, that's not it. The minimum federal award was $250,000, and the average payout was about $1.8 million. Oh, and that's the average. Recipients only had to make agreement. They couldn't sue the airlines. You should also know that most lawyers told their clients to take the money and run, which is what most lawyers would do. Take the sure money. Ellen Mariani clearly elaborated on this point during her appearances on the Black Op Radio Show Edition 156. Oddly, but consistent with everything concerning 9/11, the actual complete list of the people who benefit has been omitted from this report. Even without this, it does contain an interesting fact. According to the report, 98% of all the people who suffered a loss on 9/11 took the fund money. The average payout was $1.8 million. But here's where it gets strange. According to the government, here are the number of people who accepted the compensation fund. Out of a total of 92 people on Flight 11, only 65 accepted it. That's 71%, and there's another 71%, 46 for Flight 175, and then 33 on Flight 77, 25. So you got a higher percentage. These stats seem to highlight glaring inconsistencies involving the planes and passengers. And then these stats on figures are reposted from a page taken from the pilots. Now, the truth. Yeah, so basically the government one says it's 50 to 71%, and they're all getting average pay of 1.8 million. Maybe that's why that Hoagland lady was laughing it up. And
yeah.
Yeah. And
some passengers did sue the airlines.
Yeah, and
they did go and sue. Some of them did.
Yeah, some of them didn't get the money and took it as well. But then these ones are from. So this report here, so the government one, and then what's the exact? This one is from the compensation fund. So where are they getting these numbers again? Just to.
That's out the Social Security Death Index.
Oh no, I'm talking about the compensation one here. So this one's listed on the 9/11 compensation fund. So this one has much less people, 5, 3, and then 0.
Yep.
None of them are on it, but then the government says that 25 people accepted the money.
Yeah.
So where was this one coming? This is from the compensation fund.
Yeah.
Okay, so compensation fund doesn't actually show them, but the government just says, yeah, they got a bunch.
Yeah.
So if these numbers are in some way true, this could mean they took this money and gave it to whoever, and these are the actual people. So they gave it, but not to actually these people.
Yeah.
So they just.
I just thought I'd throw that in. You agree quicker than me, so.
No, this is a great find because again, some people are getting cash money on this, like the government, FBI, whoever's involved in this payout, because similar to sports. So the team that wins the Super Bowl, every single player and like part of the team in any way gets a ring or money or both. So if you win the Super Bowl, you get a whole bunch of money as a team, and even if you're just a water boy, you get some money. So this looks like the Super Bowl fund.
Yeah, and Ellen Mariani, who mentioned in that, she tried to sue and get CCTV footage of her husband, who was meant to be getting on Flight 175 to find out what happened, and she was completely stonewalled with everything. Yeah, and she tried to sue them for that. She really wanted to know what happened to her husband, and I think she was a genuine person.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the way they usually run it. You'll have genuine people where they're clueless, where their cluelessness actually makes the whole story believable in general, because then you'll have some people actually running the show. And then it's like, hey, so you're saying these victims are all crisis actors, etc. But it's definitely not, or actually I forgot the other way, all insider agents. and then you have one person that's pretty believable, and then the mainstream just ignores everything else. So that's that's absolutely, I think, how it is.
Right. Yeah. It's great that you're putting them. See, having you around to put all that stuff together with the spreadsheet is very worthwhile activities that you're doing. It's something that I wouldn't have the time or the thing to do. And plus, I've been at this a long time, and got into it since about, like I say, 2004. You get to an age where it gets tiring to do it. Whereas you've got a lot more energy than I have and vigor, which is good to see.
No, it's good, and you have a whole bunch of info, and that's one thing I'm good at is trying to put it in a way where I can retrieve it later. So like I don't want to remember anything, so if I need to do something, I'll just quickly search on the Excel or quickly search on the Telegram. So your memory is probably better than mine, but just my ability to find where I put it is that's one of my skills in life.
Terrible. You organising my hard drives?
yeah, that's the whole point. It's like my view is like if you have data, it's not enough that you have it. You have to make sure you have it in 75 years from now, and so on. Yeah. Especially, and then 9/11 revisionist said in the chat, if an EMP hits and then hits your hard drive, it's all gone. That's why, again, you have to try to make it multiple hard drives. So I try to, anything important I put on 3Speak as a video. And if it's links and text, all on the Hive blockchain, which is basically spread out like 100 computers, and anything happens to any of them, it can be retrieved. All right, so that's that, and I think it's pretty much it for now. Yeah, so I think.
Right, I hope that people enjoyed that. It's not as smooth as I normally do my other, but I did my best to try and put something together.
No, you did great. You did great. You did an absolutely phenomenal job. A lot of info. And again, this is a topic nobody wants to jump on because basically YouTube de-incentivizes it, but also the propaganda is so strong that you can't question any victims. And also there's policies and all that. And then you also have the Ace Bakers and Simon Jacks and Alex Jones are ruining it for everybody else.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, but nonetheless, it must be said. All right, guys. I think is there anything else you want to say? I'm going to say bye to.
Well, I'm just going to say, this will probably be my last interview and interactions like this for quite a bit of a while. So I'm not disappearing completely. I'm just having a rest.
Yeah,
from it
for
all.
sure. And your book.
I'll be in touch with people as well.
Needs to come out eventually, and I'll promote it. I'll do like a read chapter by each live stream. I'll read a chapter out.
Yeah.
And
hopefully.
Yeah, and Roadie Emotion says no Paul Loveless guy is not in the chat. Okay, that's interesting. So he wasn't in the chat. So I don't know what happened. I don't know. Maybe he's busy or Norman blocked him because Norman has a moderator setting.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So that is all. Hopefully, it comes for the next live stream. I'll do a solo one next one, and yeah. So yeah, we have a lot of epic stuff on the way, and yeah, thanks for showing up. And yeah, you definitely need the rest. You've been all out interviewing everybody, and so on. And that book, once it's out, if you get it out, even if my strategy of putting chapter by chapter on Substack, if you want, that's a good way as well.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So
definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Thanks for joining, everybody, and
thanks to everyone. Yeah.
Have a great weekend. All right, guys, and also, guys, send us a bunch of cash money. Put super chats and a donate button, and send us gold bars as Norman is saying. And I missed. Okay, guys, that is all. I'm gonna end the stream, guys, in 3, 2, 1, and the stream is ended. All right, I'm gonna stop recording, and yeah, so that's all. Thanks.
Right. Yeah, good one. I'll let you get off and have your dinner.